After just a 2-week break, GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS Sprint Cup, is back in action. We're at Magny-Cours with a night race on Saturday and a race in the Sunday sunshine. It's another stellar entry here at Magny-Cours and a fantastic representation of sports car brands with Aston Martin and Audi, for example. BMW victorious in both races overall last time out at Misano, and in endurance, of course, there is the mighty Chevrolet. No sports car grid is complete without Ferrari, and taking that on within the Endurance Cup, the mighty Ford Mustangs as well. Lamborghini's new Temerario is getting faster all the time, and the McLarens are very good for class successes. Mercedes then has a great track record in GT World Challenge Europe. More wins could be on the cards this weekend, and it was a Porsche victorious in the second sprint race at Brands Hatch. GT World Challenge, powered by AWS, runs 4 series across 4 different continents. Asia has races in Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan and China in some breathtaking scenery. And last time out at the Fuji International Speedway, Matt Tesser led from pole for round 6 in his Team KRC BMW. It was a close 3-way fight for honours, with the Porsche of Liu Wei taking victory with Laurin Heinrich. Australia traverses the country from the stunning Phillip Island circuit in Victoria to the GT Festival in Sydney, with the finale at the iconic Adelaide Street circuit. Their last rounds were at the Hidden Valley track in Darwin. In race 1, the BRM Audi took pole, and while Brad Schumacher in his Audi forced his way into second, he spun out of contention, leading Peroni and Rossa to fly by the finish line for victory. In race 2, there was a great start for the Ferrari of Josh Buchan, who kept the lead whilst chaos raged behind. Unfortunately, after the pit stop, his AM teammate couldn't hold off the challenge of the opposition, and they dropped to third, as well as having this scary moment. It was a great comeback, though, for Brad Schumacher and Brock Feeney to claim the win. In America, California, Texas and Florida have all hosted GT World Challenge races, with the finale at the legendary Indianapolis to come, whilst its next race is Road America. Europe has already had races at Paul Ricard, Brands Hatch, Monza and the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa. There's been drama pretty much everywhere you go, and the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa itself is the biggest and best GT3 race in the world. 69 cars doing battle, with early dramas wiping out some of the opposition. There was partying and there was drama, as a win for the Bastien Bus, Ricardo Fella, Thomas Preining Porsche from the pit lane was the real story. And last time out in Europe, we were at Misano, where there was a great crowd coming to watch new pole sitter Valentino Rossi, who had this scare at the start of the race. But nobody could match the pace of the number 32 BMW of Charles Witz and Kelvin van der Linde, which won under the floodlights on Saturday and again in the Sunday sunshine. So, here at Magny-Cours, Sprint Cup is back in action this weekend. We're in the Nevers region of France. Magny-Cours, a popular venue in the history of Sprint Cup, and with 44 cars entered this weekend, it is a Sprint Cup record grid. Valentino Rossi was a pole position winner for the first time in his career last time out, but there are going to be big battles across all 4 classes, with Pro, Gold, Silver and Bronze, all offering big entries and really tough competition this weekend. BMW, perhaps the car to beat. The number 32 entry of Charles Witz and Kelvin van der Linde leading the championship after the double success last time out in Italy. But, you know, qualifying is all important, and around this just over 4-kilometre long 17-corner circuit, anything can happen. Race 1 is going to be under the floodlights on Saturday evening. Race 2 for the Sunday sunshine, and with standalone qualifying sessions to determine 2 very different grids, it's wide open. The circuit itself has played home to international sports car racing and, of course, the French Grand Prix. It is 4.4 kilometres long, with turn 3, the Estoril Grand Courbe, that long right-hander. There's the tight Adelaide hairpin, a chicane at turns 6 and 7, and again at 11 and 12. And then down to the end of the lap, you're right, right again, and flick left out of the chicane over the timing line. You divide the lap into the 3 sectors, and it's relatively a flat lap as well around here. It's got some fast sections, it's got some fiddly sections, and some big braking zones with an elevation range of just 19 metres. So it is time for a closer look at the Magny-Cours circuit. Let's go on board.
Here we are on board with the Valkenhurst Aston Martin. Gaspard Simon here into turn one. It's not a brake, it's just a lift. 220 kilometers an hour here, back on the throttle hard. And then we pick our braking point on the curve of turn two. Estoril, famed for its redesign on the Estoril circuit. A long double apex parabolica style corner. And the exit is so important because it takes us onto the long back straight. This will be the highest speed the cars get at 250 kilometers an hour through the turn four easy flat kick. We have to pick our braking spots as we are going to lose over 200 kilometers an hour to the slowest corner of the lap, turn 5, Adelaide hairpin. This is where we saw lots of action last year. Hard on the throttle now for the short straight into the far chicane at turns 10 and 6 and 7. It's really interesting here where the cars need to pick their point over the apex curve on the right and the left as well. You'll be careful here to pick your braking point into the ever tightening turn 8. You'll see cars go in deep, rotate the car in the middle, pick the throttle up and go. And then we have another chance for some overtakes through into turns 11 and 12. This is the end of sector 2 and we finally get an insight to the lap time that will be coming for these cars. Again, all over the curbs. So important here at Magny-Cours to have a car that can ride the curbs. Into the tricky turn 13, the second best overtaking spot of the lap. You can see the tightening radius of the corner. A gravel trap looms on your left as well. You must be careful. And then we dive down the relatively small hill through turns 14 to the tricky braking point at 15. It's a big stop and downhill, and we see cars running deep like we are on board right now. The final chicane, an abuse of curbs is how you get the lap time, but that will come at a cost to the potential reliability of your car. The 17 corners, 4.4 kilometers of Magny-Cours should be done in around 1 minute and 37 seconds.
And so here at Magny-Cours, we're getting ready for our first race of the weekend. As we've been saying, there's one race tonight going into the darkness, although the track is floodlit tomorrow in the sunshine. And as far as the GT World Challenge powered by AWS manufacturer points, the global competition is concerned, it's Mercedes-AMG with a pretty modest advantage over Porsche, Ferrari running third, then BMW M and Audi in fifth. Bryn Lucas is down on the grid for us. David Addison and Joe Osborne are trackside. It was a very Mercedes-AMG dominated qualifying session. Those cars have got a little bit heavier for racing, so also is BMW. Audi have got lighter. Track temperature still pretty hot, but it's now a bearable temperature here. Lots of very, very heavy rain last night, and at the front of the grid is, as you can see, the fire tender, and that is all in recognition of the sterling efforts that everybody has been making across France to combat these recent fires. And it's SRO's way, in the sense of thanking everybody and acknowledging the huge sacrifices that the fire service in France has been making. Fans trackside then are getting themselves ready, but 4 out of the top 5 Mercedes-AMG, and that lap that Jules Gounon strung together this morning in qualifying was quite something. It
was phenomenal, wasn't it? At least 4 tenths clear of anyone in his group. Because of the record grid of 44 cars, we had them split, didn't we? So yeah. It was only the second group where we saw what finally Kieran Jewis could do in the sister 2C's car, and it was a dominated front row for 2C's and Mercedes looking very strong in qualifying this morning.
Ferrari strong numerically, and of course we've got the 4 classes. There is Pro, Gold, Silver, Bronze. The Pro Championship being led by Kelvin van der Linde and Charles Weerts. I also said in terms of who was on the grid, I failed to tell you, was Guenel Longy, and we'll go to Guenel, who's found one of the French influencers to talk to pre-race.
Victor, also known as Le Driviste, a very well-known French automotive influencer. You're also keen on being on F1 grids. What is it like to be on a 45 GT3 car race grid tonight here at Magny-Cours? Are you ready for the show?
Yeah, of course I'm ready for the show. It's a great experience. So many of the best drivers here. So it's a cool experience to live.
Un petit mot en français évidemment, Victor, pour tous ceux qui vous connaissent, aussi sous le nom de Le Driviste, plus de 700 000 followers sur Instagram, influenceur, créateur de contenu. Vous êtes avec nous, c'est pas la première fois d'ailleurs que vous êtes sur une grille de GT World Challenge Europe, on vous voit aussi sur les grilles de la Formule 1. À quel point c'est différent, c'est spectaculaire d'être ici, 45 voitures engagées dans cette manche de Magny-Cours.
Oui, bien sûr, c'est une expérience incroyable à vivre absolument. Ici, il y a les meilleurs pilotes du monde. Le fait qu'ils soient très près comme ça donne beaucoup de spectacles et à vivre, ça donne beaucoup de frissons aussi.
Et on est juste devant la voiture de la pole position. On va entendre le poleman dans quelques instants. Merci Victor.
Merci.
And thanks to Ganel down on the grid, along with Bryn Lucas, they'll be patrolling the grid and the pit lane for us. There is a gap where our silver pole position car is not. Now, number 21, Oliver Söderström, did the time for a first silver pole of the season, but that car is in the pit lane. Now, two reasons. One, it's got a problem, or the other is that they did not get the car to the end of the pit lane before the pit lane was closed. So we'll try and research exactly why 21 is not on the grid, but it's significant with it being, as I say, the car that was on the pole position for silver. And this race, an hour in duration, with the pit window between 25 and 35 minutes. But actually, it's only 5 minutes for each of the two groups. And we'll come to that in a moment once we've heard from Bryn Lucas with Danny Juncadella.
It's the best possible place to start in a race, and it's been a tough season for you. The last time we saw you in Misano, you were saying that you must have upset somebody in a past life because this season was going pretty badly. But you turned a corner in race 2 in Misano.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, we obviously wanted to win after scoring pole in Misano, and we ended up finishing second. Another chance today. We're hoping to break that course. We seem to not be able to win a race, and yeah, hoping for the first one. Jules did an amazing lap in quali, and yeah, we just got to try to keep it clean and bring it home.
And you got your stablemate across the way here, the sister car across the way. So that's got to be something useful. If Kian can do a decent job off the line maybe as well and get between, that can help you.
Yeah, for sure. It's always easier when you have your teammate next to you, also in a different class. So it's not like you're really fighting for the same things. And just, yeah, it says a lot about 2Cs, you know, the job they've done this weekend. We're extremely competitive, even compared with the other Mercedes. Obviously, Mercedes has been extremely fast with 4 cars in the top 5, but particularly 2Cs, you know, amazing job from them to put 2 cars in the front row.
Well, you're looking refreshed. Good luck.
Thank you.
Danny Juncadella goes second today. He'll start tomorrow, but it's Jules Gounon, the start driver. And the car they're talking about, the teammate being alongside, is the bronze pole car. Kian Jewis did an outstanding job, not just to take pole in bronze, but to be second overall. They can see the gap where the Contiu Aston is not. And we'll try and unravel exactly what has happened to that car of Oliver Söderström and Artur Dorisson. The grid, as Joe has touched on, 44 strong, a record grid for GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup. And back on the grid, Ganel Longy has now found a UFC fighter, of all people.
I'm right next to Morgan Charrière, UFC fighter, first ever time here on a starting grid of the GT World Challenge Europe. You come here to support your friend Dorian Boccolacci. How does it feel like to be on that grid with such a crowd, with so many cars and so many people tonight?
I'm really excited. I can't wait to watch how Dorian is going to pass everyone to get first, because he's starting 22. And yeah, it's really exciting, and the weather is good, everything is good. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here today.
Did you expect that crowd, that vibe?
No, I didn't know there was so much people here on the grid before the start. So yeah, it's really kind of, it's cool. It's cool. If the people enjoy it and the driver enjoy it, it's really cool. Yeah.
Un petit mot en français, parce que vous êtes français, Morgan, vous êtes combattant, on dit combattant pour combattant de MMA, hein, c'est ça. Bienvenue d'ailleurs, parce que c'est votre première fois sur une grille de départ du GT World Challenge. Parlez-nous justement de ce que vous ressentez, cette ambiance. Vous êtes venu soutenir un pilote français, Dorian Boccolacci, qui roule sur la Porsche numéro 2 de l'équipe VDS, Boutsen VDS.
C'est ça, je suis très content d'être là aujourd'hui et de pouvoir voir une course en direct et de voir autant de monde sur la grille. Je trouve ça vraiment très très sympa, c'est très spécial. J'espère que Dorian va faire une grosse remontée pendant la course pour faire kiffer un peu. Ouais.
Eh bien écoutez, on vous souhaite de vivre une super expérience, Morgan. Merci et bonne soirée.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Dorian Boccolacci, one of the drivers for Boutsen VDS for Porsche, and as now the fire tender makes its way off the grid, that leaves the Maserati safety car and lead car as we get closer to the start of our 5th Sprint Cup race of the season. The grid will very shortly be cleared. It's going to take a while, I think. There are still a huge number of people down there. Kian Jewis, Charles Dawson then bronze pole. Let's get back to the grid. Let's hear from our bronze pole winners.
Kim, when I spoke to you after qualifying, you seemed a little bit down because you thought you might be able to get that pole position across the way, the true pole position. But are you still licking those wounds, or do you feel a bit optimistic now?
No, look, we're on the front row. Look, we're in a bronze race, so we'll be good.
And what about the season that is going so far? Because Charles saw you after Misano as well, and it seemed to be disappointed, but you had a nice trophy in your hands. So the levels that you two have got to, that's a testament that you're not happy with just a trophy now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've always worked hard at it, got our heads down, and we had the pace and Misano, both of us, to win both races, and we both made mistakes, and it cost us the chance of winning each race. So we're here to try and stand on the top step, but just got to get our heads down. Kieran will get a clean start and just go from there.
No pressure on you, Kieran. Good luck.
Worth making the point, though, about bronze. It's the one class, Joe, where there is a mandatory pit stop time. So you might be doing really well overall in stint one, but you're going to have to do a pit stop of 53 seconds. So inevitably, your pit stop is slower. Inevitably, you fall back. So the bronze race, if you like, comes alive as an independent competition in stint two, whereas in the first part of the race, they're fighting with everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. 14 seconds they're probably losing the pit stops to the flat-out pit stops that could be done by everyone else. Why is that? The two main reasons. One, the bronze driver getting in isn't as well versed at doing the seatbelts quickly and safely as the pros. And the second one is it filters them to the back of the grid, so it doesn't put that bronze driver right in the middle of a pro battle, which would happen with Kieran Juris, most probably boxing that car well inside the top 6 by the end of his stint.
Grid starting to be cleared now. Lots of people taking advantage of this opportunity for the grid walk. Kelvin van der Linde and Charles Weerts, your championship leaders, by this 14-point margin from Mauro Engel and Lucas Auer. And then third, Brands Hatch Sprint Cup winners, Ricardo Feller and Bastien Boost. Bear in mind as well, of course, they have good points overall, because that is where you put the sprint and endurance points together. And they were 2/3 of that winning crew from the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa. Jules Gounon a long way down, relatively speaking, in the championship, because he has only done Misano, wasn't at Brands Hatch. He is subbing for Chris Lullum, who's still getting over an operation to remove his appendix, and it'll be good to see Chris back. But it's very good to see Jules going so well. He's having a bit of a tough time in DTM. He's had a bit of a tough time in WEC for Alpine as well, but here he's back in a happy place.
Yeah, really happy. And as the sun sets, it'll be interesting to see who stays happy. Some adjustments to the balanced performance, as always. Keeping the cars on the same lap times is difficult, but some big changes. As you can see, the big change for the silver class cars, far left a shot, is that 21 Com2 Aston that should be on the 4th row of the grid. Looks like it's ready to go, just waiting its wheels out the tyre oven.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a panic around it. So either they miss the pit lane opening, or there is a strategy to all of this. So it might be that once he's cleared the grid, Bryn can go and investigate that for us. Next, though, let's hear from SRO GT Academy winner of last year, Gaspard Simon, who is on this grid, and he's in conversation with Guenel Langy.
Gaspard Simon starting from 3rd position in the silver class here in Magny-Cours. You're racing at home this weekend. It's not the first time that you race at home for sure, but this GT3, you want to bring this GT3 on the podium this weekend for sure.
Yeah, that's my first time in the SRO Championship at Magny-Cours. The atmosphere is every time very special with all the fans, the French fans. So the qualifying this morning was really good, to be honest. P14 on the grid. So let's see what we can do in silver class.
Un petit mot en français, hein. On vous laisse continuer à vous préparer. Gaspard, c'est un week-end un peu particulier, une course à domicile. Vous êtes 3e sur la grille de départ en catégorie silver. On imagine l'envie, forcément, avec votre coéquipier également, qui est français, qui est juste derrière nous, Maxime Robin, d'aller chercher ce podium à domicile.
C'est sûr, on a envie d'aller chercher le podium. Ça serait un tel soulagement de le faire. On a fait notre meilleur qualif de l'année pour l'instant. On n'a jamais été aussi proche de devant. Il faut y aller petit à petit, voir ce qu'on peut faire après le départ. Prendre un maximum de plaisir surtout et espérer d'être à l'arrivée sans casse. C'est
ce qu'on vous souhaite. Bonne course.
So Gaspard Simon, good to go for the Valkenhorst team. There is the car that is going to be on pole position in the Gold Cup. Gilles Magnus will start. And let's get back to the grid. Mention the gold pole. As if by magic, Bryn Lucas is there.
One of the very few cars that really went out in anger in the wet that we saw last night. It was you behind the wheel, Robin, and you said you actually wished that you'd had some more dry running because conditions like this.
Yeah, I'm very inexperienced at this track. I know Gilles has been here many times and he showed it in quali. He did a mega job to qualify pole in class, and I hope when I take over that I can keep it there and hopefully maybe even move some more positions up overall.
Well, looking ahead of you, there's a few bronze ahead. They've got an extra bit of time in the pit stop as well. But realistically, you've got a couple of golds behind you that are further ahead in the championship. So it's just getting your head down for this race.
Yeah, after the start of the season we've had with incidents, we really want a clean race and get to the podium and collect as many points as we can. Still, I mean, we still have a halfway through the season to go, so we'll try to do our best and not end up in the wall like before.
Learn as much as you can ahead of tomorrow. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, poor old Robin Knudsen was in the wall before turn 1 at Paul Ricard. He was in the wall on the first lap of the first race at Brands Hatch. He was in the wall just before turn 1 at Monza. Well, the car was at least. Things have slightly improved since then. They had a good Spa and a good qualifying here and a decent Misano as well. Now, Charles Wirtz, Kelvin van der Linde, championship leaders, but a really bad qualifying for them.
Yeah, really struggled, didn't they? We saw them launch over that final chicane curbing. Looked like it would have done some damage to the car as well, so hopefully they will have a better race.
Let's hear quickly from Charles Wirtz with Ganel.
I'm right next to Charles Wirtz, getting ready to jump in the BMW number 32. Challenging race, starting from P17 as you won the last 2 races and leading the championship.
Yeah, let's see after this race where we finish.
Thank you, Charles.
Not a happy man after qualifying, and the fact that it's not the easiest place to overtake around here, preying on his mind a little bit, but he's in race mode now, race face on, get in the car, switch off from the rest of the world and face forward.
Yeah, the 3-minute board there you can see was the reason he was a little bit short in the interview. Of course, not happy starting 17th, but he realised he only got 3 minutes until we will be starting our formation lap.
Mauro Engel has a bit more time because Lucas Auer is in 48, Mauro's with Bryn.
Well, Mauro, here we are, and it's a really good position for you to be on the grid. It seems to be a Mercedes love affair, this track, doesn't it? It seems to be performing so well around here.
Yeah, for sure. The Mercedes-AMG GT3 has been working really well this weekend, and obviously these guys did a great job in qualifying. Let's see what we can do in the race now.
You have such a busy schedule when it comes down to racing with everything you're doing between. I know you're going to have a week off, but this one here, it's a race for the championship. It puts a good marker on the season, particularly this being the halfway point at the end of this race.
It's always a place I love coming to. Magny-Cours is always a challenging driver's circuit, and it just has a nice flow to it. The public, the French public, are great, so a lot of support, and it's fun.
And different conditions to last night as well. Nice dry track out there. Favourable conditions for you.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little bit more straightforward than last night.
Best of luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, Mauro Engel and Lucas Auer, of course, great combination. Mauro, a loyal servant of Mercedes AMG, and you've just heard a pro at work there with the entire car name put into the answer, Mercedes AMG GT3. Totally on brand.
He is the perfect professional, isn't he? And the pace staying strong for him. We talk about drivers getting older and losing pace. Mauro Engel not losing pace by any stretch of the imagination.
There's number 21, then our silver pole car, not on the grid. But as we've been saying, there's no real panic around it. Right, the safety car is ready to lead them away, or the lead car. The safety car itself was already parked, but the Lumirank saying safety car against that. There's the car of Dorian Boccolacci, and the number 2 Boutsen VDS car will be started by Alessio Picariello, the Belgian driver. Dorian Boccolacci to take it over for the second stint. Carrera Cup France champion, so he knows Magny-Cours well. The 1-minute board now has been shown. The engine's fired, the grid is cleared, and 21 Aston then has got a lot of work to do. It'll be starting from the pit lane. So the bad news is it's going to be out on pretty cold tyres. It's going to be at the very back, but any accidents on the first lap, well, it can hopefully avoid them.
Yep, it had the pace, didn't it? We've seen the Aston strong at the end of the straights as well, so overtaking into that turn 5 Adelaide hairpin could be a strength for the 21 Aston.
So the fans get themselves settled. It's been a long day of action for them and all the marshals. This 1-hour race ready to get underway. That 15-second board, then just getting everybody ready. And the lights starting to go. The green flag will be shown. So the lead car, as it is, will blast away in a moment, and then on instruction the lights will go green, the flag will be waved. Niels Vitic, the race director, will release the race cars. They can play catch up on that run down towards turn 1. 4.4 kilometres, as we've been looking at the earlier track animation, is this Magny-Cours circuit in the Nevers region of France. The formation lap then is underway. 4 classes, and the pole positions having gone the way, as we've touched on, of Gilles Magnus, Oliver Silverstone, which we understand had a vibration problem. Bronze pole, Cian Jewis, and the overall pole to Jules Gounon. So this is how they're going to line up. Jules Gounon on pole, Cian Jewis lining up alongside Max Hesser in the best BMW third, and Lucas Auer will go from fourth. Fabian Schiller out of the Bronze Cup, he's fifth on the grid, and sixth, Kobe Pauwels in the best Aston Martin, a gap where Oliver Söderström should have been. And then you get to Marvin Dienst ahead of Thomas Neubauer and Mathis Liesmont. Then it is Dennis Marshall and Gilles Magnus ahead of Dean McDonald and Gaspar Simon. Good qualifying to be 14th ahead of some big names such as Tommaso Mosca and Tom Fleming's McLaren. Then Charles Witt, championship leader in Pro, back on the 9th row alongside Alex Arca. That's his car that's already had a couple of class wins. David Fuminelli and Eddie Cheever are ahead of Bastian Buus. He's got work to do. So is Alessio Picariello in his Porsche. Andrea Frasinetti next from Sebastian Oegaard. Jim Plar in the Bronze Cup Santalok Audi. Guillermo Oliveira for Optimum. Then Matteo Villagomez and Mattia Michelotto from Anthony Bartone, winner at Misano. Gilles Staudsbader is next. Augusto Farfus in bronze on the 16th row with a troubled Luca Engschler. Then you've got Felice Gelmini and Thierry Vermeulen a long way back, really struggling it seems in the Emil Frey Ferrari. Loris Cabiru is alongside Cole Bennett. Mikkel Pedersen, new to pure racing, is alongside Simon Gachet, who's been a winner here at Wright in the past. Then it's James Kell alongside Tanat Satra and Tirakul. You've got Konta Lapalainen's Emil Frey Ferrari a long way back alongside Simon Reicher. You've got Raponge and Amaury Cordeel complete the grid. Cordeel never got a lap time in with his 10-minute qualifying period because he kept losing the time to track limit abuses.
Yeah, easily done here at Magny-Cours, and it could be a flavour of the race. Remember, penalties will come to cars that do track limits over 6 times. They'll get 5 seconds, and it ramps up from there.
So the cars now making their way on this formation lap, getting a bit of warmth into the Pirelli rubber. It's going to be interesting, this. It always is, of course, in these pseudo-night races, a bit like Misano. Yes, you've got the floodlights, but things do change. Temperatures will drop, and the feel you get and reference points change a bit as well.
Yeah, track temp dropping, so it will get quicker as the air temp drops as well. The engines generate more power. Look at that beautiful sunset that Farfus is looking at. Did see a little debris fall off one of the cars as they left the grid going into turn 1, so keep an eye, sort of mid-part of the width of the circuit going into turn 1. Didn't look big, looked like some radiator blanking or something potentially.
Okay, so now the cars, as they come down towards the Complexe du Lycée, putting themselves into that 2x2 formation. Jules Gounon then, number 3, the pole position car. There is Oliver Söderström, 007 on the Lumirang. Purely coincidental that it was an Aston Martin, but he was the 7th fastest qualifier, so notionally in P7, but he's going to be 44th by the time he gets into the first corner. The field now then wriggles its way through turn 15. There's the chicane at 16 and 17. It was a really spectacular part of the racetrack during the qualifying session this morning, or earlier on in the day. It was just after the stroke of noon, but we're about to get the cars unleashed then. 60 minutes are on the clock. It is race 5 of Sprint Cup. We go racing, a really good getaway by Fabian Schiller, who tries to go for a gap that soon closes. Lucas Auer manages to box him off. Gounon will take the lead. Jewis goes second. Third is Auer. Fourth is Schiller. Max Hesser drops back way up the curve there. Look goes the Ferrari to try to gain ground as they turn their way now with Thomas Neubauer around the outside of Hesser. Out of turn 3, he goes wide. Hesser gets back up the inside. Dienst is on his toes as well. Big slide there further back. That looked like Bastian Buus's Porsche getting all crossed up, but a great start by Jules Gounon because he's edging away on the run up towards the Adelaide hairpin, and now hard on the brakes.
Is it going to be okay? Is it Concertina's up looking in the midfield? Everyone looks okay. Some cars going to the grass. It's the Optimum car, isn't it? Oliveira having to take to the grass, but so far relatively small amounts of contact. Initially it was a great start from Schiller in that white and red Mercedes. He had to check up in the in front in the Boutsen VDS Porsche, and at the moment everyone keeping clean has gone. That gap's going to be 1.2, 1.3 seconds, I would say, by the end of this opening lap.
Bit of hip and shoulder, wasn't there, I think, which forced Neubauer off the circuit. The start's under investigation as the cars make their way through then. There's a possible fear about Luca Engschler's Lamborghini that has either got a transponder problem or it has got a problem because it's being shown as being absolutely flat last as the cars now then come down towards the Complexe du Lycée for the first time. Gounon leading the way. Jewis second and leading bronze. Third is Auer. Fourth is Schiller. And then Neubauer is up into 5th place. You can see the way here they leap and bounce their way through the chicane, and that is just putting more and more and more stress and strain through the cars. Over the line they go. Gunnon leads at the end of lap 1, and it's 1.251 seconds. You were just ever so slightly out, Joe.
Told you a million times, don't exaggerate. You can see cars having to cut the final chicane. Cheever looks like he's lost a place or two. I'm not going to state the obvious with it being a very strong Mercedes track. Mercedes have got the most wins here historically at Magny-Cours, but it's really suiting the front engine cars. It's only Neubauer in that Ferrari in a mid-engine car that made it forward. It's 7 front engine cars in the top 8 here at the moment.
So the cars then now come up towards the Adelaide hairpin once again. It's still close, as there you can see Neubauer versus Hesse. Hesse's not had a great start, has he? Because from being third on the grid, he's gone backwards.
Yeah, it's like Valentino did at Misano, wasn't it, race 1? We've now got the run. It's a short break here. You're only on the brakes for around 55 metres, so that's where they ran side by side. I think it'll be investigated if Neubauer gained an advantage. For me, they were alongside. I think he'll get away with that one and will keep the place over Hesse.
And as you see there, 99, which is Alex Arca being lent on by Charles Witt. Alex Arca's co-driver, Dylan Pereira, racing here and also at the Nürburgring this weekend in the NLS, where he's had a class win and was third overall earlier on in the day. So fair play. When we get to the Nürburgring GT World Challenge weekend, he's racing in that and also the 24 Hours of Zolder. So Pereira goes racing wherever and whenever he can. Witt's stuck in traffic, isn't he? He's not making progress. He's 15th. All right, he's gained a little bit off the grid, but now he's absolutely stuck.
Yeah, he really hasn't got anything. He was on the back of the Audi, the mid part of the lap. Valentino looking on as Hesse will flick through the shot now. He won't be best pleased with the start his 46 has made. It is really Jules Gunnon at the moment, isn't it? Dominating. The Mercedes starting to split out. Engel looking on as Lucas Auer in that yellow Winwood car. His teammate has had a good start. Again, if we see the start, those two Mercedes that weren't on the front row got the momentum but had nowhere to go as the two CEST cars closed the tide across the front of them.
So the race leaders then work lap number 3, and it is still Gunnon trying to get away. He's up to a second and a half's worth of an advantage, and in real terms he is 2.5 seconds ahead, because with due respect to Kieran Jewett, you sort of take him out of the overall fight because it's a Bronze Cup car, and as we made the point earlier, they have slower pit stops by regulation, so they're not going to be there at the end fighting for honours.
No, there's almost zero chance. The only way that will work for him is a long safety car period over the pit window. Let's get a replay of the start, so you can see the two CEST cars go. Schiller in that white and Auer go to the inside. It was like the front row was slightly hesitant, and I also wonder the rows behind had a bit of momentum of that final chicane being so slow. You're trying to catch up, so here we can see, and it was just a good go from both Mercedes. Hesse gets boxed out. If Auer didn't have those cars, he had the momentum to be at the front of that pack.
I think the other one that's being looked at was Schiller, because he seemed to be either very keen or slightly too soon to get away, but he also gained ground. Hesse goes backwards. Neubauer goes all the way around the outside of him, look, coming out of turn 3. But by most, there were also, I was going to say it was a clean start, but he had a couple of cars going off through the gravel, so we did get a couple delayed very early on.
Yeah, but the Neubauer and Hesse BMW are still side by side, aren't they? So that went from turns 3 all the way to turns 8 and 9, where finally it swung in the momentum of the red Ferrari.
So Gunnon leads then, Jewis second, and in bronze it's Jewis from Schiller from Marvin Dienst, and that's significant when we get into stint 2. In terms of the other classes, you've got the Gold Cup at the moment being led by Gilles Magnus, you've got Silver being led by Mathis Liesmar, who's had a really good season already with 2 class wins within Silver, and he leads the championship with teammate Ignacio Montenegro as well. So Liesmar for WRT at the moment sort of upholding BMW honour by leading a class at least. Max Hesse 6th overall in the race, and you can see Hesse having another nibble back at Neubauer, but the Ferrari able to stay ahead off the corner.
Yeah, Neubauer's getting held up by Schiller in front, isn't he? Hesse will give him another lap, and then this pressure will start to get bigger. This is where we rode on board with Hesse last time through 6-7. It's very hard to get the move done. There's a lunge here at 8, but Neubauer closes that off as we flick between the onboards, working perfectly, looking at each other. And what can this BMW do? It's so strong at the end of the straight. Neubauer kicking up the gravel. This will give some momentum to the BMW, but again, a hard corner to overtake coming into turn 9. This is getting close, and this is the frustration building on Hesse.
Nice move round the outside. Hesse goes through, rides the curb, but doesn't shortcut the racetrack. Neubauer tries to come back at him, heading now up towards Chateau d'Eau, but a curb hopping Hesse is ahead, but does he go a little bit wide? Yes, he does. The road opens up. Neubauer's going to have another go, and he's on the inside line all the way down the hill. It's going to be the last of the late breakers. It was a good opportunistic move by Hesse, but Neubauer is going to force the issue. He's back back up the inside, he retakes the place, and up the inside also, look, comes Kobe Powell's. Beautifully done, 007 Aston Martin gains a place, and 1 up and 2 back for Hesse.
From way downtown as well from Kobe there, that was a late one. I think Hesse there potentially too proud of his move round the outside at turn 11, patting himself on the back, forgot to downshift into turn 13, and Neubauer mugged him back from an initial hero move. It was a bit 0 to 0 for Max Hesse.
Well, that's rather chastened BMW is trying to fight back, but now look at the real estate that Neubauer has bought, because he's cleared off into the distance as far as this battle is concerned. There you've got Jewis in second place, Auer third, Schiller fourth, look back, fifth is Neubauer, and for sixth it's just Pauwels ahead of Hesse, with Marvin Deans closing up as well. Hesse, I think, a bit red-faced after all of that. He's trying everything he can, but he's going to be caught very shortly by the traffic behind him. Deans, another of the Bronze Cup drivers, is closing on Hesse, the BMW factory driver.
Yeah, we know how fast and aggressive he is, and talking fast and aggressive, you've got Dean McDonald in the garage, 59, McLaren coming up from 13th, so he's gained 3 places, and I wonder what can Neubauer do about getting that gap back down to Schiller. It's grown up to 1.7 seconds. It shows you what battling costs you.
And there is Wirtz still trying to get past Alex Arca this lap without contact, but Charles Wirtz is still stuck 16th place. If anything, he's dropped back a little bit, I think. So Wirtz having a tough stint here. Jim Pla going nicely in the Audi. Behind the Audis a little bit lighter for the race than they were for qualifying under BOP adjustments, but Charles Wirtz absolutely stuck at the moment, and more than anything he's having to defend.
So this was the move. We saw it from the outside, so he's going to go to the left. I haven't seen this done successfully where you go round the outside and keep it on the black stuff through here on the left. So now we just brake too late. We go for the inside, so I'm assuming he's misjudged the grip that was on the inside the track. He's gone in deep, and that gives the run back to Neubauer, and then suddenly Kobe Powell's in the green Aston Martin, the ComQ car, just places it on the apex, and Hesse gets hung out to dry and loses 2 places.
Those 2 cars that we had squabbling earlier on and making contact, I think Farfus and Engschler with the 2, they're being looked at. There is Hesse then trying to regroup, 7th place. Good stint though this by Kian Jewis. He was very impressive last year in British GT, humbling on many an occasion Mercedes factory driver Maxi Goetz with his pace, and there he is, being able to run with Gunon and keeping Auer and Schiller at bay.
Yeah, he's running really well, isn't he? And quickly mentioned Dean McDonald being on the pace. He's just on the fastest lap, first sector of anyone, sorry. So that McLaren is getting quicker and quicker as the temperatures drop.
Fastest lap of anybody in the race, Jules Gunon, perhaps no surprise, because he's clearing the fresh air as Hesse now tries a move on the outside of Kobe Pauwels, and that doesn't work. Is there a hint of desperation in this now? He's sort of a bit embarrassed by that mistake, and he's trying everything to regroup.
Yeah, and he's going to try the move he did on Neubauer going round the outside. Rossi looks on, and this time Kobe Powell blocks that attempt. He goes in a bit deep there, so potentially Hesse's going to be able to get the car over nicely to the exit of 13 to try and get the run, but cars starting to stack up behind this ComQ Aston Martin.
Yeah, there's Deans, and behind him is Dean McDonald that you've been talking about, and then in 10th place Dennis Marshall in the Kessel Racing Ferrari, as here Kobe Pauwels drops down towards turn 15. Hesse closing up under braking, but nothing he can do there.
No, really difficult there. You can see the brake disc glowing on the Aston Martin. That is completely normal, and as we get less and less ambient light, you'll see all the cars lighting up, the front disc especially. They'll be running anything up to 700 degrees, and those skid blocks working hard on the Mercedes as well of Kian Jewis.
Which leads bronze, as you can see on the graphic, from Fabian Schiller in the red and white Mercedes AMG, from Marvin Dienst in the turquoise Mercedes AMG, and then a bit of variety. Ferrari, Dennis Marshall 4th, Audi 5th, Jim Pla in the Santalok car. First time we've seen Santalok in bronze this year. And here's the long queue of cars coming up towards the Adelaide hairpin. There's your second Bronze Cup car. Fabian Schiller starts, Gabriel Rindot to take over.
Yeah, Neubauer is catching this Mercedes. Last time round took 0.4 of a second out of him to bring the gap back down to 1.5, so that could be a battle as we look at McDonald against Dienst.
Do indeed. McDonald then all over the back of that Mercedes AMG. The McLaren getting quicker as it gets lighter, and Dienst really having to go defensive there to close off that inside line.
Yeah, the 59 car, remember, was a race winner here last year. Kirchhoffer and Goethe were together, so McDonald has replaced Goethe this year. So that car could be well up there, and it was fast all weekend long. Garage 59 had to change chassis at Monza, remember, after the big shunt, and they look like they're finally back on top of the performance of the 59.
From the pits, Oliver Söderström has gained a couple of places. but he's not exactly fizzing up the order, I'm afraid, Söderström. So he's still a long, long way back, not only overall, but in class as well. As you see the Gold Cup leading Gilles Magnus Porsche go through, keeping out of strife. And we're about to complete then lap number 7 as the leaders go by. So it is Jules Gounon ahead of Kian Duis. This is your silver leader, Mathis Lismont, who's had a really good season. And Mathis Lismont, every time we see him, sort of belies the relative lack of GT3 experience, because he looks like he's been doing this for a decade or so. Yeah, really calculated with his moves, his consistency. He's looking really good. Of course, at WRT, you've got a plethora of data to be able to look at, and for sure that's helping the silver car of Lismont at the moment. His pace is really strong, and so has Montenegro as well, his teammate. So there's your leader, Jules Gounon, and what he needs to do is build as big a gap as he can, just in case 2Cs aren't the fastest in the pits. They've got a bit of a cushion here, and like I say, the real opposition is the 48 Windward Mercedes, the man-filter car of Lucas Auer, and it's now 5 seconds first to third. Yeah, it's starting to come a little bit in the favour of Lucas Auer to Kieran Duis. The last lap was a bit quicker. Car's still popping in green sectors, but less and less fastest laps now as the tyre starts to drop off. We get the fuel burn around here of around 2.9 kilos of lap, so every lap the car getting lighter, but the tyre life is a bigger loss than the gain on the fuel. But in the pit stop, we'll see new tyres, so suddenly the car's come back alive with a fresh driver. You see the Porsche there at the back of that queue, that's Gilles Magnus, who is leading gold, and Gilles, the Belgian driver, currently in 11th place. That's the overall standings on the graphic, as you see Jules Gounon in that Red Bull liveried. Verstappen Racing, 2Cs operated, Mercedes-AMG down towards the turn 15 right-hander, and this in super slow-mo is the line through the chicane, and he is absolutely flying, launches himself over the curb. How about that? It looks worse, looks more dramatic in a sense in super slow-mo, but that again shows you the huge stresses going through the car and the driver. Yeah, I spoke to Al Fleming, the engineer for the 3 car. What was your curb strategy? And he tried to just say, I've got it under control. The drivers know what's allowed. If it wasn't so dark in the background, I would have assumed that was his qualifying lap. That's how max attack he was in the MaxVerstappen.com racing Mercedes. And the car is coping with it nicely, so Jules Gounon continues to lead, 4 seconds ahead now of Kian Duis. And you're right, Lucas Auer is getting a little bit closer to Kian now, so up towards the hairpin at turn 5 they come. There's Schiller in 4th in the red and white, almost cigarette branded Mercedes. Behind him is Neubauer, then Pavels, Hesse, Dienst, McDonald and Marshall rounding out the top 10. Still fastest lap of the race, Gounon, but Lucas Auer now edging closer to Kian Duis, and he wants to get past on the track, doesn't he? Not have to wait until the pit stops. Yeah, and just wonder what team orders there could be between 2Cs. Like you were saying, David, the 2Cs car in front of him is in that bronze class, so he's going to lose 14 seconds. But if he can just hold him up, it just guarantees a bit more wiggle room for the 2Cs crew to change the tyres. Remember, driver changing tyres as fast as you can in all the classes bar the bronze. So there's Auer charging along. Let's have a look at the speed through the Grand Curb, which is effectively turns 1 and 2 bolted together, and Lucas Auer is the fastest through it, 219 kilometers an hour. Fabian Schiller not much slower, but interesting that you've got Mercedes and McLaren dominating the fastest 5 through there, the bravest 5 drivers being Auer, Schiller, McDonald, Kell and Gounon, the race leader, as you see Auer heading up to the end of lap number 9 here, and he's a little bit nearer once again to Duis. Yeah, a little bit of housekeeping. The start, no further action, so everything is okay on that. I would say I agree with everything I saw on that one, but good for race control to check everything out. True enough. So Gounon leads then as you hover over the start of the lap. They're going through the Estoril long right-hander. Fabian Schiller, of course, Nürburgring 24 winner and a very good driver in his own right, trying to stay with Lucas Auer. Accelerates now up towards the Adelaide hairpin. But Kian Duis to Lucas Auer, 0.8 of a second starting this lap. Auer accelerates then now up towards the hairpin, down through the gears into first gear. That's how tight it is. Top speeds at the moment, topped by Mathis Lismont and Max Hesse, 256 kilometers an hour. Great illustration. BMW and Audi dominated by BMW, of course, but that's the top speed. Then the corner speed was 2 different cars, and that really is an amazing illustration of how the balance of performance has to work. Starting to look a bit livelier under the hands of Lucas Auer. They could see a bit of oversteer on the way, and then a load of lock needed to rotate the car. And actually, Kian Duis has just done his best sector 1 of the lap. What's that 1 illustrating on that display? Any ideas? That's the position you want the car to be. That's a driver ID, so the driver switches ID, so we get the timing. So Lucas is down as number 1. That will change to 2 when Maurel gets aboard. Simple as that. So there you can see left, the gear change, going up through the gears to 3rd to 4th, heading down the hill. And you're right about the car looking lively, really having to fight it, wasn't he, midway through the lap down at turn 8. Lucas Auer heading to the end now of lap 10. There's Jewis, still looking good. So you've got this 2 C's, 1, 2 at the moment. Gounon from Jewis, Pro from bronze. Then you've got Auer in third, Schiller in fourth, fifth is Neubauer, sixth is Pauwels as they come across the line. Bit of gravel, bit of rubber junked to the side of the road. It's been a busy day of support races here at the Magny-Cours circuit. The rest of the field all come filing through, but overtakes not that prevalent at the moment. It's tough out there, partly the nature of the circuit, and partly because the BOP equates everybody.
Yeah, exactly, and just that's what's happening to Charles Wirtz in 15th place, our championship, our dominant championship leader. And here's our Spa winner from what feels only a few weeks ago, Bastien Booz, all the way down in 21st position right now.
But significantly behind the cars that he needs to be ahead of for the championship. In other words, 48 Mercedes and 32 BMW. And 48 Mercedes hasn't done a lot of winning this year, but it just knows how to bank points. And there it is again, running in the top 3, the top 2 in its class for overall points as well. It's going to score well, seemingly. Charles Wirtz currently 15th. Really frustrated here. Yeah, they might be able to buy a place or 2 on the pit stops, but even that's not going to catapult them up the order.
Yeah. Can I just mention the dirty phrase, track limits? Everyone has been really well behaved so far. The top 3 haven't done a single track limit. The highest in the top 10 has only done 2. So at the moment, the driver's been very respectful. Yeah. Of course, they will be saving those for the end of the race. It's always a strategy. Don't burn them up for no reason. You're better to keep them to the end where you might need them.
Well, there is Charles Wirtz, who will give way to Kelvin van der Linde late in the race. The top speed through that Imola sequence of corners, headed at the moment by Bastien Booz. So another part of the circuit where it's Porsches 1 and 2, Ferrari 3. Let's have a listen in to Jules Gounon's radio traffic. Race leader is on lap 12.
Jules, just for information, we're thinking we go long in this stint, maximum of 8 laps. Because if we stop when the window opens, we would come out in traffic, okay, just for information. I'll let you do it, mate, focus on the driving.
That seems like teamwork. You worry about the strategy, I'll worry about the driving.
Yeah, Al Fleming on the other end of the blower to Gounon. Just working out, right, if we box, we're probably going to lose 40 seconds. Where's that going to put us? And right now, that would put you right in the midfield of like 35th place. And remember, it's a split pit window. So for the first 5 minutes, from 25 to 30 minutes, all the pro and the gold cars can come in. And then 30 to 35, the next 5 minutes, is all the silver and gold cars. So it's going to, silver and bronze, so it's going to be a busy pit lane for 10 minutes, but they're just working that out. And normally we see the undercut. Everyone boxes as early as they can. Last year we saw opening stints of 13 and 14 laps, but adding 8 on to where they were, they're obviously going to look to do 17 to 18 laps with that number 3 car.
But although we're talking, and you just explained it, it's effectively a 10-minute window through the regulations. You've only got 5 minutes for your respective group, and it's going to be tomorrow the first pit stops for the silvers and the bronzes. So you've got fewer laps to play with here, as opposed to what you would have in a normal 10-minute window. So 5 minutes to stagger the pit lane, to make it a bit less congested, but it doesn't give you quite as many options.
No, exactly. One car that will box as early as it can is that yellow Winward Man filter car for sure, to try and box under. So then it will be up to Engel to what he can do.
Great shot that, as you see them flick through the chicane, the drone hovering over 16 and 17. So right now you've got Porsches the fastest in sectors 2 and 3, Mercedes AMG the fastest in sector 1, Mercedes AMG 1, 2, 3 and 4, and your best Porsche 11th.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it, how weak they are in Sector 1 as Danny Jungier gets ready. He's looking at the onboard, looking at the data, looking at the track limit warnings as well as we flick to WRT now. And that was van der Linde, wasn't it, getting ready with Rossi in the background. Look at the amount of dust and heat being generated as these cars knock over 200 kilometers an hour off their speed into turn 5.
Up through the Adelaide hairpin, there goes Mathis Leesmont, still leading silver, 12th overall. And Oliver Söderström has dropped to the back of the order, so I think he's had a moment somewhere, Söderström. He's not, as far as I know, made a pit stop, but he has fallen a long way back, so problems persist after such a good qualifying. As you see, Leesmont now looking for a 3rd win in silver. Ignacio Montenegro, the touring car champion, will take over. Admittedly, Leesmont is at the minute being monstered by Tom Fleming, who wants to get past him to go after the Gold Cup leading Gilles Magnus, because he's in gold himself, and he wants to also get away from the Gold Cup Ferrari of Tommaso Mosca. Meanwhile, that's Marvin Dienst, and he's under attack from Dean McDonald as Danny Honkadea gets ready. Spectacles off, helmet on, and he awaits Jules Gounon in the pit lane.
Yeah, he has to be ready even though they're going long. As soon as the window opens, in case there were a safety car, they would take that opportunity, of course. So he has to be ready as soon as the window opens.
And this is the first time he will have driven. It's nearly 9:30 in the evening here, and he's not been in a race car all day because qualifying is for the driver who starts the race, that 10-minute period that they get. So the second stint driver has had absolutely nothing. They are, well, not for a moment suggesting that the pro drivers are not race fit, but you know, they've suddenly got to deliver having not sat in the car all day.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult, and a lot of drivers and teams now actually bringing simulators to the track to try and help that. And I was with Dean Fisher at McLaren this week talking about what the real world to sim sort of difference is these days, and it's getting smaller and smaller still. There's been a huge rate of improvement in the last decade, but still these sims are so important, and that can really help a driver get up to speed.
Arthur Leclerc will take over from Thomas Neubauer in that Ferrari you were briefly on board with a moment ago. Gounon is now 6.8 seconds ahead of Dewis and 7.8 seconds up the road from Lucas Auer as the drone chases then after the McLaren. Tom Fleming on the back of Mathis Leismont. The drone tries to go around the outside. Great shot of the side of the cars, and you see Leismont being able to defend nicely then as they come up now through the turn 8-9 sequence, the kink at 10, and then you've got that short run up towards another right-left flick, 11 and 12, and then up towards Chateau d'Eau at turn 13. But there's an awful lot of drivers, I think, who are looking to probably get out of the traffic early. So although Gounon is being told to go long, I think there'll be others wanting to pit early because it's their only chance to try to jump the traffic. They're just stuck in a queue here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be quite tight at the end of this lap, isn't it? I think everyone from about 12th place, I thought that Audi was going to go in the back of Wirtz there. I think everyone from about 12th place backwards might be able to box, but it's a hard one for the engineers to call because the pit entry line you cannot cross before 35 minutes remaining for the Pro and Gold cars.
Right, so Gounon now 7 seconds to the good as they go through the Grand Cours, and Charles Wirtz still unable to do very much at all about Tommaso Mosca ahead of him. And even if he gets past, it's quite a long wait then before he can do anything about the next Pro Cup car, because Dean McDonald is the next target in 9th place. The team, we understand, saying there's no drama with number 21. It's just not got the pace today. So Söderström is trying to fight back as best he can. There, meanwhile, going through the Adelaide hairpin. Again, Wirtz having to cover off the efforts of Alex Arca behind him. And it's not just drivers that need to be sharp for the pit stops, so the engineers and the mechanics as well. And if you're in charge of fitting tyres, because there's only 2 of you that can do all 4 corners, you've got to be ready as well.
Yep, you've got to sprint all the way round the car. You've got to carry all 4 tyres out and the wheel gun, which spins at 15,000 RPM. And the torque on that's enough to rip your hands off your wrists if you hold it wrong. And they can do that in 16 seconds. So that's the incredible nature of GT racing pit stops.
There are your fastest drivers in each class. Overall, Jules Gounon, and he's quickest in Pro. Alex Arca is the fastest man in gold. Mathis Leismont, the fastest man in silver. And Kian Dewis, the fastest driver in bronze.
Just look at that average across the 4 classes, just to illustrate why Jules Gounon is so far ahead. Yes, that's class averages, but he is a second a lap faster than any other class fastest driver. That shows you why the gap at the lead is at 7.3 seconds.
Lucas Auer goes through as we are edging closer to the pit window. It opens now. So is there anybody at the back of the pack that's going to be brave and roll the dice? This is what a big lead looks like. 7 seconds plus for Jules Gounon over. Anybody? Well, there you've got Kian Dewis, the bronze leader, Auer behind him, Schiller behind him. But Jules Gounon has absolutely dominated this, and you've got to say it's going to take quite a lot now for 2Cs and or Danny Hunkadea to lose this.
Yeah, I just worry for the 2Cs mechanics on that car. They'd just be thinking, don't mess up, don't mess up. And what do you do when you think don't mess up?
You mess up.
Exactly. Our first pitter was the 80 Lion Speed car, Marl Engel there, ready to go. Expect the pit lane to get very busy in the next lap.
Indeed so. There is 31 in from the back of the grid. So Amaury Cordeel gives way to Jordan Pepper. And WRT trying not to get cars stacking. There is Gounon. We're told by the team they are going to go long. And assuming that was a genuine radio message, not just to, if you like, throw the opposition off the scent, you can expect Gounon to do a few more laps. But what the team can't legislate for are others joining in after their pit stops and therefore giving him traffic that they weren't expecting.
Yeah, that's the hard bit, that they're trying to spin the plates of 43 other cars out there, and he's staying out for another one. I expect Lewis has to stay out. He can't box for another 3 minutes 38 seconds, but I think Winwood will come into pit lane this time.
Yeah, don't forget those bronzes and silvers have to pit in the second half of the 10-minute pit period. So you've got a 5-minute window for the first batch, and now in comes Lucas out to give way to Mauro Engel. So this is the car that was in third place, and that's the first significant runner, isn't it, out of that leading group in. But just look at the queue behind.
Yeah, it's going to be busy. They're right at pit exit. They're the last garage. So if the fast lane is busy, they've got to yield. You can actually see Auer changing that driver ID to 1 to 2 for Mauro Engel. Driver change going on, tyres at the same time. Auer already out of the car, finishing up with the window net. The car controller with the lollipop will be making sure they're clear to go. It's a direct race with the 46. They should win it because they had 5 seconds over him as Garage 59 finished their stop.
Indeed so. The Boots and VDS Porsche's on the move in the background. Away now goes Valentino Rossi, and is he going to be able to stay ahead of the Porsche? Just about. So there's going to be a big shuffle of the order, but it'll start to stabilise once you get the other side of the pit window. Has also 32 yet been in, or are they trying to leave Charles Weerts out long?
Gone long with him.
I think they have, haven't they? Yeah.
So just in the shot there, so they were lucky not to get stuck in the traffic that 2Cs were fearful of, but they had to roll the dice. They don't get the luxury of going long because they didn't have the pace that this man has in the number 3 car.
But you can't really go that long, can you? You've only got 5 minutes. You're lapping at 1 minute and 36, 37 seconds.
Yeah, you can do one more comfortably. Yeah. Safe by 30 seconds, so I expect them to roll the dice and go for one more.
So long being a relative concept in these short windows. There's number 21 then, which has fallen down, of course, after its earlier dramas, and you've got the best place of those that have made pit stops. So we're looking at the Ferrari, looking at the Aston Martin, you've got the Arthur Leclerc Ferrari, and then it's going to be Nicky Team, isn't it, that's taken over number 7 Aston Martin. That's going to be a car to watch now.
Yeah, that's going to be seriously quick, trying to fight its way up the order, and we haven't seen the feistiest opportunities for Nicky Team so far this season, just lacking a bit of pace, it seemed, in that Com2 car.
Just wonder whether or not that 21 Aston ahead of the Ferrari might just be ever so slightly impeding it to assist the number 7 Aston. Let us see. We also need to keep an eye on 48 at the end of this next lap, as you see Kelvin van der Linde replacing Charles Weerts in BMW 32.
Yeah, 48 has lost quite a few spaces there to Team and to the 50 Ferrari. Their pit stop 44 seconds, 5 seconds slower for Winwood, as the pit lane still staying busy, and Jules Gounon will box this lap in around 50 seconds from now.
Away goes Kelvin van der Linde. So the other side of the pit stops, we can get a proper idea of the order. And there's also an unsafe release being looked at. We'll come to that in a second.
Jules, we're going to box this lap. Confirm. Box. Whoops.
So that's Jules Gounon being told he's going to come into the pits this time. There is Gounon going really wide over the curb coming out of Chateau d'Eau. The unsafe release was Valentino Rossi just getting ahead of Robin Knudsen in that Boots and VDS Porsche. I think we did see it. It was close, but it's being looked at.
Yeah, I think it was okay. We saw it live. As long as the car in the fast lane doesn't have to deviate speed or direction, you'll get away with it, and I'm pretty sure that was okay, that one.
And look at this, totally clear pit lane for Jules Gounon. So everybody else has made their stops, and there's absolutely nothing to get in the way as Gounon comes down the pit lane. So now Danny Hunkadea is ready, and the 2Cs mechanics have just got to make this go like clockwork.
And interesting, their pit lane timing now is going to overlap with a lot of the bronze and silver cars, so that was the traffic they should avoid. As long as you're in pit lane before the pit window closes, you're okay, and they are a-okay. The pit lane will get busy, but behind them for them.
See the cars still running those stickers in tribute to the late Mark van der Straten, as the 2Cs mechanics take the wheel off, put the new one on. And away goes Danny Hunkadea. That looked good, and it'll be enough to keep the car in the lead of the race, as back on track blasts then number 3, Danny Hunkadea, now behind the wheel on a circuit that's getting just that little bit darker.
Yeah, our pit leader was Arthur Leclerc in that 50 Ferrari. He's going to be, I think, 14 to 15 seconds behind, and there is the gap at the apex of turn 1, as Hunkadea is already making his way through turn 4.
If he's watching this from home, it must be bittersweet for Chris Lullum. It's his car dominating, but he's not here driving it, sadly. As you see, number 52 for Gilles Stadsbader cycling through to give way to Jeff Machiels now, as the field there with number 3 Mercedes out of sequence at the moment, but it'll get that lead back, and no further investigation for that Valentino Rossi, Robin Knudsen release.
Yeah, you could see a bit of traffic in front of Juncker there. It was the Optimum McLaren that should be boxing any time soon as cars still filtering out of pit lane. It's going to be busy, of course. There's 46 garages and 44 cars, so it's busy any time you look down there.
And there is Kelvin van der Linde trying to pick his way through the traffic. If you were being cautious in the first stint, then this driver cannot afford to be, because this is your only chance now with the pit stops done to gain traffic, gain position. It's got to be done on the racetrack, as you see the Boots and Porsche up the inside. And also there, van der Linde does gain a place, gets himself through on the inside of the Garage 59 McLaren. So a place gained by Kelvin van der Linde, and that's crucial as he tries to urge his way forward through the order here.
Yeah, they didn't have a great pit stop either, though, WRT. They lost 4 seconds, so he was getting past Pret there, but they've actually lost track position after the pit stops.
So great opening stint by Jules Gounon, and Jules out of the car is with Bryn Lucas in the pit lane.
I just said to you that it was pretty good, and you're yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good Saturday evening. You know, some guys go partying. I was driving in Magny-Cours, one of my favorite tracks, with the sunset, sorry. Wow, it's amazing. Sometimes you feel so in the moment, and the car was amazing. I felt really good. Pushed every single lap like a quali lap, and I was comfortable with it, so very happy.
What's been the key to the setup for this car? Because it seems to be working so well in your hands, and Danny, who's not had much time in the car as well, he seems to be settling in quite nicely too.
Well, we have one guy to thank, and it's Max, because he gave us so many opportunities during the winter to test many days with good tires, and we have a great set of engineers with the 4 of them behind the scenes that are working day and night towards this project. So the goal of Max was to try to be one of the best GT team in the world, and today I think we are doing well, but still 27 minutes to go. I had the feeling in the past when we need to stay calm, so just the car felt amazing, and when you're so in the zone, I love this sport when it's like this.
Yeah, I bet you do. Now go and watch, try and relax, but bonne chance.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So important place to Jules Gounon, Magny-Cours. It was here that he won his first French Formula 4 races back in 2013, and because of that, Jules made a point of presenting the trophies to the winners of the first French F4 race here this weekend to say, look, this is what you can do. You know, I was one of you. I was a French F4 race winner at Magny-Cours. Now I'm a Mercedes factory driver, and he's been driving for Alpine in WEC. And, you know, saying to them, your career may not take you to Formula 1. It can take you in different directions, but, you know, I was one of you, and look what I've achieved.
Yeah, and getting paid to drive around in circles is always a privilege. And I think that's what Jules Gounon was alluding to. Driving through the sunset in a GT3 car is a special place to be. And he was at one with the car, and as a driver, that just means you're not thinking about your braking points, your downshifts. You're just able to get in a complete mental flow state, and that's when you're at your best. But it's hard to get there regularly.
26 minutes and counting then, as Kian Jewis, yet to stop, leads the way from Fabian Schiller, from Marvin Deans, from Dennis Marshall. So you've got the 4 bronzes leading the way, or the 4 bronze cup cars. They're not bronze graded drivers, they're better than that, but the situation for the moment is distorted because they have yet to stop. You're on board here with Louis Pret trying to get back up the inside there of the Ferrari, hard on the brakes up to the hairpin, but no way by there. The number 51 Ferrari able to cover off that line and just hang on to the pace as out the other side of the corner goes Matteo Zagazzetta and Louis Pret behind. So at the moment they are 19th and 20th in the race.
Yeah, such a great onboard as they go into turn 5. As I said, that's the biggest stop of the lap. The drivers are exerting over 100 kilos of force through one of their feet onto the brake pedal to get it stopped, and stopped. It was our race leader, but our bronze class leader after these pit stops, Kian Jewis, handing over to Charles Dawson. Remember, these pit stops will be slower. They have a minimum pit stop time.
Interestingly, we've got a new fastest lap of the race, and it's Arthur Leclerc in the best place Ferrari. So that car that he's taken over from Thomas Neubauer on a new set of boots coming alive as you see 2Cs cycling Charles Dawson through. And if you think, well, it doesn't look as quick as they were with Gounon, don't forget 53 seconds mandatory pit stop time.
Yeah, exactly that. And that will be 10 seconds slower than the other 2Cs pit stop. The fastest pit stop so far are in the 39s, so it will be a 14-second loss for those bronze class cars.
Right, so there is the flying Ferrari of Arthur Leclerc, and he is now on the last lap, 6.7 seconds back from Danny Hunkerdea. We'll have a proper look at the order at the end of this lap. As you see there, van der Linde gets up past Charles Dawson as well. So 32 will be better placed. Now a new fastest lap of the race, Dorian Boccolacci. So the purple lap time, as it were, the absolute fastest lap being traded driver to driver and significantly perhaps brand to brand.
Yeah, it's coming alive, isn't it? We're just at the end of a traditional happy hour. Slightly too dark to be the happiest of times, but the track temp is coming down. Dawson, we saw leaving pit lane as the Audi gets past Pret there, who was trying to get past that Ferrari Zagazzetta only a lap ago. But Dawson had that purple light flashing. That indicates to other drivers it's the bronze-graded driver aboard the car. What's a bronze-graded driver? It's an amateur. They're a non-professional. They're the guy who brings the money for the car. This is a hobby for them. And we always make sure we don't talk down about them, because what they're doing is incredible. The bronze-graded, this AM driver, is now within 1.5 seconds of a full factory pro. The level of the bronze driver is getting better and better year on year.
Danny Juncadella then, race leader. He has never had a Sprint Cup win, and Jules Gounon has, but no points were awarded because it was the rather contentious race in Barcelona. So although he and Maxi Goetz were the race winners, the race didn't score points. So the result sheet says he wins, but the points table said nobody scored points from the race. It was kind of annulled. You're on board here with Louis Pret, and it's all got very busy ahead of him as there round the outside goes Dylan Pereira in the Audi.
Yeah, I think it's Alex Arca, isn't it, in the Audi now, and it's all concertinating up because it's Dawson in front in that bronze leading car. So this is Pret again. So you've got the Audi and the Ferrari, then Dawson still in front, and they've been stuck behind him for half a lap now. He's got two slow cars and bodywork on the side of the track too. And
a damaged car, I think, as well. One of the Ferraris looking a bit crab-like. Michel Blanchemin is in the 26 Santilloc Audi. There's a Ferrari that's damaged and another car. That's another Audi, isn't it? That's the Christopher Hasse Audi with a lot of front damage and steam and smoke coming out of it. That's part, and hopefully that's far enough out of harm's way that we don't need to neutralise the race.
I think it's going to have to be a full course.
Attention all teams, there will be full course yellow in 20 seconds.
Says Niels Vitic, the race director.
Took the words out of my mouth, and there's a huge amount of bodywork missing on the front of Ferrari. So as the Ferrari rear-ended,
10 seconds.
Audi of Hasse would be my guess. That's down at turns 11 and 12. Hasse's almost all the way at 13.
4,
all cars need to be at 80k by the time we get to
1. Full course yellow. Full course yellow.
This point.
And the drone didn't seem to get the count from the race director. That was a bit late in slowing down. Well, forgive the drone, because it was sort of off the track at the time. So full course yellow called. Now we need to see whether this can be sorted out swiftly enough so that we don't need to go safety car. If we do go safety car, that's an absolute godsend for Arthur Leclerc. So right now your race order is Danny Juncadella in the lead. Second is Leclerc, the gap 6.3 seconds. Nicky Thiem is third. Maro Engel is fourth. Valentino Rossi fifth. And winner here last year, sixth. Marvin Kirchhofer, as you see, an empty but smoking Audi. And Thomas Neubauer thinking, come on, we need a safety car. Safety car gives us a chance. They've won big on the pit stops, haven't they?
They really have, and they're just looking. I think there was maybe some overtaking under that full course yellow procedure.
Have a look at this. I mean, it's very nearly McLaren overtaking Ferrari right now. So the McLaren there say, come on, hurry up, hurry up.
Yeah, I think that Porsche in front of Dawson's Audi there overtook in the full course yellow procedure, so some potential penalties coming for that full course yellow period.
Yeah, Louis Pret still a bit frustrated as he wants to get past the Zagazzetta Ferrari. So we're on the full course yellow. The race has just over 20 minutes still to go. And this might explain who did what to which and to whom. So, yeah, Michel Blanchemin got a bit sideways, got hit by a Ferrari, and then there was the sort of concertina effect. And I think Christopher Hasse had nowhere to go, just sort of piled into the back of the traffic. And that's where the bodywork came from and the damage to the front of the car came from. So this concertina effect look. Yeah, Michel Blanchemin gets hit really, really heavily by the Ferrari, and Hasse piles in. Trying to see which Ferrari it was. I think it might have been the Felix Hersiger car, number 71, or 52, arguably. So 84 is out of the race and confirmed, yeah, 52. So Jeff Machiels was the
race
Ferrari
control
driver
to all
that did a
teams.
hit.
Please advise all drivers to stay to the far left at the exit of turn 12 because we have marshals on track on driver's right to collect debris. So please advise all drivers getting between turn 12 and 13 that the drivers need to stay on the far left because we have marshals on driver's right.
See all the coolant coming out of the front of the Audi, and Niels Vitic telling the teams totally unflappable, very calm and controlled and considered in what he's doing by way of instruction.
Yeah, I thought it was a Porsche overtook Dawson. I think it was Alex Arca, sorry, in the Tempto 99 car. I think that car's either got to give that place back or it's going to get a penalty. You can't overtake once full course has been called. Even the whole countdown from 10 seconds downwards is no overtaking.
So this full course yellow period has gone on for certainly one lap, and the longer it lasts, the closer you get to needing a safety car, and that's exactly what Arthur Leclerc wants in second place, because that would bring him into contention against Danny Juncadella. There he is in the lead of the race. Juncadella coming now down towards the completion of lap 24. The clock's got 18.5 minutes on it. Quick look at the classes. It's still number 10 Porsche, now Robin Knudsen leading in gold. Charles Dawson, treble 2, still leading in bronze. And Ignacio Montenegro has taken over from Mathis Lissemont and is still leading in silver. So relatively speaking, you've had little change within the classes, but the big change could be if we go safety car for the race lead battle.
Yeah, which I think we will now, because it's taken a bit longer than we would have wanted. The marshals have now got that car fully in the air. Stint average for the stint so far. This car for Danny Juncadella, a 38.5 is an average. Arthur Leclerc behind 37.9, so 6/10 on average quicker. Was that Juncadella getting up to speed? Was that him looking after the tyres and the car? He still has 0 track limit warnings. Arthur Leclerc has 1. Nicky Team in third has 4.
Wow.
So there's some factors to bear in mind also.
So yellow lights still around the circuit under this full course yellow period.
Race control to all teams. The area between turn 12 and 13 is clear again, so no marshals in this area. Track is clear in this area.
I just worryingly saw the safety car with its lights on in pit lane. Haven't had it confirmed yet, but I think this is leading to the potential of going to a full course yellow into safety car.
Which you kind of expect the longer they last, don't you? So around turn 3, there you have the situation for second place, Leclerc and Team. Nicky Team also, if we go safety car, could be a big winner out of all of this. We haven't really touched on it, but Kobe Pauwels, who qualified the car and started the car, he really has come on a pace in the last couple of seasons. He's had more track time, admittedly doing Asian Le Mans as well as GT World Challenge Europe, but Kobe Pauwels now able to hold his own against some more experienced drivers.
Yeah, he's really done that transition through the gradings, hasn't he? He was a fast silver, and now he's a fast gold as he's getting the experience, like you said, David, but also he's putting it into good measure. It's one thing experience, but being fast and consistent isn't something that just happens overnight.
16.5 minutes are on the clock as the leaders go through the turn 5 hairpin. There is Leclerc. Let's have another look at exactly what happened. So here there's a bit of contact that unsettles Michel Blanchemin's Audi. He gets hit hard by Jeff Machiel's Ferrari, into the back of whom piles Christopher Haas up. Others scatter in avoidance, but yeah, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, I think that is on the Audi Blanchiment. You could see it's a bit of a lunge. He was up on the curb. That lost him. The amount of energy going. Yeah. And the Audi is still running at this moment in time. And the Ferrari has continued as well. So it's only Haas at the moment that's effectively retired from that.
And the Optimum McLaren, Mikey Porter, was the other car that was involved and had contact as it clipped the Ferrari. So that also survived. In that respect, Haas are just really unlucky.
Yeah, it was. You could see the fluid, like you said at the time, David, pouring out. The radiator's being punctured, so he would have known from the impact most probably that it was too much. But yeah, the water pressure would have gone through the floor, and that would have turned the engine off for him to save any long-term damage. As we're on board with Mara Engel, who will be ruining that slow pit stop. Otherwise, it would be him in second place behind the number 3 car of Danny Juncadella, when we go safety car.
So Juncadella from Leclerc, from Team, Engel, Kirchhofer and Rossi the top 6. Knudsen is 7th. Boccolacci has also been a winner on pit stops 8. Van der Linde is up to 9th, and Alex Arca is in 10th place.
Interesting, you see they actually are under the 80k limits around some of these tight corners, so the drivers still having to work hard. Even though 80 is the maximum, they're still trying to get round. So the apex speed of turn 13 is around 72k, so they've still got to maximise it. There's a few quirky corners here where there could be some lap time difference under full course yellow, which I think unfortunately this time will be negated as the safety car will bunch everyone up.
And don't forget, the safety car is able to run at, in quotes, motorway speeds rather than this slower delta speed of 80k for full course yellow. So it is deployed to speed the pack up, to also bunch them up and in theory make for a safer restart. We've not yet heard from race control that we are getting safety car, but our increasing assumption as the length of the full course yellow period extends is that that will be what happens. So here they come. This is lap 26, and we've got 14 minutes of the race to go. You can see the yellow flag still waving. There is Alex Arca in the car that he shares with Dylan Pereira. Trezor and Tepto have had a real yo-yo sort of a season. Some races, loads of damage and dramas. Others, like Monza, an outright race win. So the incident still being attended to. And with Arthur Leclerc running in second place, if he bunches up behind Honkadea, can he attack? Well, Brink can find out with Thomas Neubauer now.
Watching the screens here in the garage, and Thomas, this is a really good opportunity for you. Started a bit further out of position than you'd like, but managed to make it up in a full course yellow in the safety car. It really comes into play, doesn't it now?
Yeah, I mean, we know how these races are very important, especially the start and then the first 2 laps, pretty much deciding your end position. So, you know, you have to be quite aggressive. We know the field is very strong there, so yeah, I had to play a lot in the start. I think we did a good job. The guys did a mega pit stop, so big up to them. And then let's see how it goes now. I think it's quite cold, full course yellow. Pressure going down, temperature on the tires as well. So let's see how it goes.
Could be a lively restart. I mean, what can Arthur do? Is there areas that you've worked out that he can find the pace? He seems to be having pretty good pace out on track.
Yeah, I mean, Arthur did a very, very good job so far this weekend. He was very quick, even quicker than me, to be honest. So we expect a lot from him. He's very quick. I have full trust into him. So let's see what he can do. I think we have still a bit of a gap also compared to P4. So let's see.
Quietly optimistic, hopeful maybe. Good luck.
Yeah, you have to be optimistic. Thank you, guys.
Well, Thomas Neubauer is a race winner this year. He and Arthur Leclerc made a good combination. There you can see cars out of harm's way. And that Ferrari then now of Jeff Machiel's being towed away with the front damage.
So it retired at a different corner to the incident, obviously, so it kept going for a little bit and really where it's going to go into the wall.
Dear.
So I think, as bad as it looks, the problem is the car's lost power and you lose the power steering, and suddenly the car that was designed to have power steering,
Attention all teams, full course yellow ending on short notice.
So no safety car. That is not what Thomas Neubauer nor what Arthur Leclerc needed. We're going to go racing.
3, 2, 1. Green flag, green flag.
So we're back to green flag. I've got to say that surprises me a little bit, given that it felt like a long full course yellow. But Niels Vitic, the race director, is content in these temperatures. Look, you can see there Leclerc weaving around a little bit to get the tyre temperatures and pressures back up, because they've been dropping. He's got team crawling all over the back of him, and this now takes some of the pressure off Honkadea, because straight off Leclerc has to defend second place.
I'm telling you now, drivers were not ready to go back to green. They would have fully expected a safety car procedure, so they would have got that short notice and been panicked. They were like, I was ready for a safety car. I needed that time to get back up to speed. That wasn't afforded to them. So now they've got to turn these tyres back on. They've got to get the pressures back in. I think this could take a lap. The track temp has dropped to 27 degrees, ambient at 22. This could be a lively lap. Honkadea will be the happiest man alive. Him and Gounon yet to win a sprint race in GT World Challenge.
But 3.5 seconds between Honkadea and Leclerc, so the gap is less. And don't forget that although Leclerc had done the fastest lap of the race, now Nicky Team has it. So behind Honkadea, who's looking, as we've been saying, for that first Sprint Cup win, Jules Gounon looking for his first one to give him points, although he has had a win, as I explained. It is the second and third battle. If they can hustle each other along, they might get a bit closer to Honkadea. These are two quick cars.
Yeah, and at the moment it looks like the Ferrari is the quicker one. Nicky Team going in incredibly deep there and then getting a face full of gravel. And sometimes as a driver you can strategically run wide and just try to unnerve your opponent. The cars are all designed to kind of take it, so long are the days where you can do that and put a hole in the radiator of the car behind. All the manufacturers design these cars to run faultlessly for 24 hours, as the 31 car has been turned around there.
Yeah, that's Jordan Pepper, isn't it, at the wheel, taking over from Harry Cordeal. Not often Jordan spins on his own, so I think there's a little bit of help in all of that. Now, how is Arthur Leclerc getting on? We'll find out in a second. First of all, Jordan Pepper, was turned around by Gabriel Rindon, wasn't he, number 12? So Leclerc in the first sector a little bit quicker than Honkadea, and the gap 3.1 seconds. Leclerc is full steam ahead here with 9.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure there was contact there. I don't know. I thought Pepper was just on the dirty part of the track and it rotated on him. Of course, he's on the front foot. He had nothing to lose, so he will be giving it everything he can. But it'd be interesting to know if there was contact there or not.
So the cars, meanwhile, are working now lap 28. So Danny Hunkadea leads the way. 2Cs looking for a maiden victory this season, as out of the hairpin then goes the Spanish driver, who was very, very strong in single-seaters, going back to his Formula 3 Euro Series championship winning days, also winning the Macau Grand Prix. 991, the Augusto Farfus and Darren Lung BMW, 5-second time penalty for pushing another car off the track. That goes back to very, very early on in the race.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Race control taking their time, but have given a penalty, so that will hurt Darren Lung, who is now aboard the 991, but it was Farfus who attracted the penalty, as the slow-mo camera again illustrating all the energy that is involved in these GT3 cars, and that was the bronze-graded driver of Renat Salikov.
And also you've got the Marcello Tomassoni, Felice Gelmini, Aston being given a 5-second penalty for track limit abuses as well. So Robin Knudsen still strong in the Gold Cup, but behind him on the road is his teammate Dorian Boccolacci. The two Boutsen VDS Porsches getting themselves together, waiting to see what the gap is going to be between the leaders. I think it's going to be down a little bit between Hunkadea, as there Van der Linde absolutely sends it up the inside of Dorian Boccolacci. That's 8th overall. Both of them almost came to a halt because they both ran out of road, but that was a proper bold bid by Van der Linde, and it worked.
Yeah, it was a dive bomb. That was a lot of cooperation there from the Boutsen Porsche, otherwise that would have been on the fault of the 32, but he got through.
Lead gap has come right down because that time around the better part of 9/10 of a second quicker was Leclerc. So now from 3.1 it's 2.3 seconds, a massive gain on that lap by Leclerc.
Yeah, and we've still got time for another 4 to 5 laps potentially as well, so this could get interesting fast.
There's number 66 Audi, another of the Trezor Attento cars going through, and that is Ariel Levy at the wheel, and the car currently running a little bit further down the order, but Levy doing a decent enough job here in 18th place. He's second in silver and actually gained on that last lap. There's Leclerc getting away, I would offer you now, from Nicky Team, and you can see, admittedly, that 3:09 lap was when we were still under full course yellow, but how it has been since then, with the better lap time being offered up by Leclerc as he hustles on to try to catch this man, Danny Hunkadea. Admittedly, he only has to win by 1,000th of a second. Doesn't have to be a big gap as long as he's ahead, but certainly the gap's coming down.
Yeah, and is it the car still getting up to speed? As you can see, the sweaty Neubauer watching his teammate Leclerc push on. Leclerc obviously can see Hunkadea easily in his sights, and this is when the cars need to come back up to speed. And this lap looks much stronger for the 3 car.
Yeah,
as we look back now, Nicky Team is staying with the Ferrari, but unable to really challenge for the second place.
Those sectors looking a bit faster this time for Hunkadea than Leclerc, so the gap's up slightly, 2.4 as they go across the line. 6 minutes to go. Ferrari down through the Grand Curve, turns 1 and 2 bolted together, then the long Estoril corner. But up front, Hunkadea strong, very definitely strong, and hanging on to the advantage. Looking a little bit further back, Engel is still 4th, Kirchhofer is 5th, Valentino Rossi in 6th place. Down, 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 down through the gears goes Arthur Leclerc, heading into the turn 5 Adelaide hairpin. Team closing up under braking, but then loses out as the Ferrari just gaps in coming out the corner the other side.
Yeah, they're all within half a tenth in sector 1 on this current lap, so the pace does seem to be getting more normalised. The Mercedes always seems to struggle to turn its tyre back on, so to get it back in the windows is starting to get a bit of traffic as well. It's the 88 car he's just cleared. Wouldn't have lost him too much time, but every time he's got to overtake another car, there will be some nerves. He could be clear for the end of this race. The next traffic in front of him is a good 8 seconds up the road.
And just over 5 minutes of the race to go as Leclerc then pushes on. Nicky Team still in touch in 3rd place, but it looks as though Hunkadea has, to use your phrase, steadied the ship, and he's now going to be able to consolidate that lead. There is Thomas Neubauer. Close, but not close enough. And in fact, Nicky Team is just slightly impeded, isn't he? Not deliberately, but just ever so slightly caught by the traffic coming down then towards turn 15. So the gap 2nd to 3rd widens fractionally. It was 2.4 between the top 2 last time, and on this lap it is up to 2.5. So yeah, Hunkadea 2 laps in a row in which he's built the gap slightly.
Yeah, and it was Kerry Schreiner, I think, in the 88 car, the bronze-graded driver, getting out of the way well, not to impede them. It was actually traffic last year that changed our win, in my opinion, from the Rutronic Porsche finish as we see a battle with a Porsche and a McLaren coming into the final break zone of the lap.
That's Ricardo Feller getting up on the inside then to go ahead of Louis Pret. Feller, in fact, has gained 2 places on that lap. So the Porsche getting a little bit stronger in this stint. Mikey Porter's McLaren is under investigation maybe for speeding in the pit lane, so that's being looked at, but normally that's bang to rights. And Honkadea has just done a personal best first sector.
Yeah, and he's definitely getting up to speed. Not just personal best, that's the car's best. That's quicker than any lap we saw from Jules Gounon as well. So he has got up to speed, and maybe he was just managing it ever so slightly on the restart. When the tyre pressures are low, you can pick up punctures as the tyre doesn't have the support and structure. So some teams try and get the driver to stay off the curbs. Maybe he knew he had the pace, and he was just stroking it home.
We also have that Jordan Pepper, Gabriel Rindone incident under investigation as Honkadea comes then through now the turn 13 Chateau d'Eau, out the other side, drop down the hill, kink at 14 down to the Complexe du Lycée, and 3 minutes and change on the clock right now. So it looks as though Honkadea and Jules Gounon are going to be winners in Sprint Cup, and for Danny, it'll be a first Sprint Cup win. For Jules, it's going to be, as we've been explaining, the first one that's going to generate some points after the points weren't awarded in that Barcelona race, where about 54 minutes were all done behind the safety car for assorted reasons. There is Robin Knutsen, and it looks as though a Gold Cup win is going to go his way and to Gilles Magnus. And right now, he's fending off the Pro Cup entry out of the sister part of the garage, and that's Dorian Boccolacci at the wheel.
Yeah, probably will let the sister Porsche go because they both gain out of it in terms of no time lost for this car in shot, and then it's a position gained championship point-wise in the Pro class. They obviously score on overall, not their class.
So Honkadea leading in Pro, Knutsen in gold, Montenegro in silver, Charles Dawson carrying on Cian Duris's good work, reigning British GT champions in bronze. Mercedes 1-2. We haven't really touched on Peter Dempsey, who's taken over the Ziggo Sport Tempesta Porsche from Eddie Cheever. And Peter Dempsey, Walter Hayes Trophy winner, raced single-seaters in the UK and in the States, but then ran out of money. He's been brought back as a Quicksilver, and not only in WEC, but in this championship as well, proving his worth. So Peter Dempsey, new to Magny-Cours, going well for third in class. The race now under 2 minutes to go, and number 3 Mercedes, you've got to say, has dominated this. It has led all the way from pole. It's become much more dominant, does it?
Yeah, it's been really strong. Just put some numbers on Dempsey. His stint average only 0.4 a lap slower than our race leader, Honkadea. So as a bronze-graded driver, he is very shiny.
Very definitely. He was always a gun in single-seaters, wasn't he? He occasionally had his wild moments, but that was why he was always great to watch. And it's good to have Peter back racing. So here you're looking at Charles Dawson leading bronze. He's got Ricardo Feller crawling all over him in the Lion Speed GP Porsche that's had a really up and down sort of a season. Had a tough weekend at Misano. Certainly race 2 didn't go its way after a bad qualifying, and it hasn't really startled here either. We'll see what tomorrow can bring from a separate qualifying session earlier on in the day, different conditions, and of course a daylight race as well. It is getting darker and darker and darker here at Magny-Cours. That's Ignacio Montenegro, who's on target for a third win with Mathis Lismont in silver, as you look at Maro Engel launching himself up the curb. And there's your firework display after all.
Yeah, and doing a good job of getting these cars to the end. You've got to be fast, you've got to take risk, but feels strange hustling a 500,000–600,000 euro asset so aggressively, but that's what these cars are designed for, as Honkadea is pushing on hard. You can see the car really working the rear axle under braking into the final sector of this race.
So Jules Gounon then watching Danny Honkadea bring it home. It looks as though we're going to have an Aston Martin for the podium for the first time since the SRO Motorsport win back in, 2019, the Marvin Kirchhoff Ricky Collard win. But Honkadea then is on his last lap. The clock is about to hit 0. And so for 2 C's for Verstappen Racing, Jules Gounon and Danny Honkadea are going to be victorious here at Magny-Cours. They have absolutely dominated, not just the race, but the day. Gounon was unstoppable in qualifying. He led all of his stint. Honkadea has led all of his. The gap came down a little bit after that full course yellow. Checkered flag at the ready. Race 1 at Magny-Cours, won by Danny Honkadea and Jules Gounon in absolutely dominant fashion, and Jules Gounon is a very happy man indeed. He's had a tough time in the DTM and the WEC, but he's back at a happy place tonight, victorious at a circuit that's very special to him. He had his first French Formula 4 wins here before he went off to do Carrera Cup France and then into GT racing. And Danny Huncadea as well, not putting a wheel wrong in that stint. Fastest lap of the race, Nicky. Team, this is your bronze winner to make it a double for 2Cs. The team that operates the Verstappen racing entry. Charles Dawson and Cian Jewis come home 12th overall to win bronze.
Really good job from 2Cs, from all 4 drivers there. They have been the team to beat today, and no one has done it in their respective classes. And then our silver winner as well, the 30 car, and they've had a strong race as well. They actually had 3 cars between them and Ariel Levy in the Audi in the second place silver car.
Yeah, good effort that by Ariel Levy, who got caught up in the dramas at Spa. Lost it, didn't he, on that first racing lap. So it is a Mercedes win for the first time since 2025 in sprint. The Mercedes victory in sprint coming at Brands Hatch a year ago. Danny Huncadea for his first win, Jules Gounon second, effectively ahead of Arthur Leclerc and Thomas Neubauer. Good points for them as far as the championship is concerned, but 7th for Kelvin van der Linde and for Charles Weerts. Bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card that. It didn't look anything remotely as though that was going to happen early on. There are your silver winners confirmed on that graphic for Ignacio Montenegro and Mathis Lismont once again. And let's have a quick listen in to Danny Huncadea's radio traffic. The race winner.
I'll see you, Danny boy. Checkered flag. P1, my friend. Excellent job, thank you. And well done.
Oi, oi, oi. Finally. So good. Thank you, guys.
A happy Danny Huncadea. It's been a long time coming, that, hasn't it?
Yeah, you can feel the relief, doesn't it? They really feel like they had Lady Luck against them. And this could be the turning of the tide for this 2Cs cars. And they seem to have unlocked something performance-wise. And to be fair, they highlighted why. They've just done so much winter testing. They've got the budget supported by Max Verstappen, like we've said. But it just shows you that even these top teams, the more you test, the more you learn. These cars all have a quirk to unlock the performance and drivability out of them.
Indeed so, as the not quite Red Bull livered, it does look similar. Gold Cup winning Boutsen VDS Porsche, Robin Knudsen and Gio Magnus makes its way down to the pit lane. And thankfully, they've now got over all of that dreadful luck that they were having at the start of the season, and huge damage bills as well. So lots of fans have stayed late into the evening for them if they wish. There's a nighttime pit walk or even track walk if they'd like. Still to come. There's also the podiums, plural. The cars brought into the paddock, the podium just outside the race control building, so really quick to get the drivers to the presentation area. There it is. You can see the race control building. We're somewhere in there, overlooking the final few corners, and the drivers are already being prepared at the podium as noisily Danny Huncadea arrives in the race-winning 2Cs round Verstappen Racing Mercedes AMG. I'm very happy Jules Gounon. He and Danny, of course, used to drive together to IGTC successes and GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup successes a few seasons back. So it's a partnership that has worked well. And Danny Huncadea, who drives for Corvette in WEC, clambers out of the car, and that is, yeah, significant. It's important, and it's a win with some relief in it as well, I think, for both drivers. All smiles for the 2Cs engineers. And Jules Gounon, along with Danny Huncadea, will make their way shortly to the podium. Bryn is poised to have a word once Danny takes off his crash helmet. Nighttime racing, so spectacles required. And then the GT World theme plays in the background as the trophy is there. The drivers now start to pose with the car. And as the drone hovers over turn 17, other class-winning cars brought to the presentation area. And how about this for taking motorsport to the fans? Everybody coming to celebrate with the winners, with the podium just behind the camera. So it is a win for Jules Gounon and for Danny Huncadea. And Bryn Lucas is down there. There's Cian Jewis and Charles Dawson as the bronze winners. But let's hear from our outright winners first of all.
Well, gents, it's been a very, very long time coming. Daniel, just here, Danny, you've got to cross the line. It's been a long time coming for you both here in the sprint. I mean, you've had a couple of decent results this season, but luck hasn't been going your way. And you've finally taken this one, and it was a really, really tough job, although you did make it look a bit easy.
I mean, it's never easy, you know. Sprint racing is hectic. You need to be spot on everything. I think obviously 80% of the job was done by my teammate with an amazing quali, amazing first stint. He pulled a very comfortable gap that just made things easier. We could chill a bit more at the pit stop. I had a comfortable gap after the stop, so I could just, you know, manage a bit that. But yeah, amazing to get the first proper win.
I bet you were a bit nervous when that full course yellow came out there. Jules, you were watching on. Any concerns at any point? I mean, you have been absolutely on song this entire weekend.
No, to be honest, I went outside the box when I knew Danny was in the car. I went to buy a Goff with Nutella with myself, and I just enjoy eating it because I know him. I know he will bring the car in the P1, and I'm just so happy for the whole team. You know, they are working so hard we have the good life, you know. We come and we push. They are working night and day to give us a car like this, and hats off to them. And I'm very happy to win also with him. It's very special to me.
Maybe pretend you're a bit nervous. Well done. Go and celebrate. Congratulations. Great result.
Happiness is a race win and a Nutella waffle. What more could a guy want, eh?
Life is pretty good for Draguignan, and fair play to him saying about the guys staying late and making him a fast car. As a driver, you're super privileged. You're the last to arrive and the first to leave, and you need the whole team around you to make sure they're putting every ounce of effort to making you a fast and reliable race car.
So there, the fans congregate around the cars, phones click away, and the drivers will gradually make their way to the podiums. We've got one, of course, for pro, for gold, for silver, and for bronze. Ganelle Longy is in the middle of all of this somewhere, and she's got our gold winner, Gilles Magnus and Robin Knudsen, and they were 8th overall.
Yes, crowdy victory lane. The car's missing, but the winners are here with me. Gilles, Robin, winner in the gold class tonight, starting from pole position. Perfect race, perfect win that you may want to dedicate to someone that left us a few weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect moment to dedicate the victory to Marc Verres, who obviously supported a lot of people in racing, but yeah, we were one of them, our team. We were grateful to have known him and to have had his support. So yeah, this one is definitely for him, and I'm just happy for Robin, for the team, for myself, because we deserved this way earlier. We were a bit unlucky beginning of the season, so it feels really good. Just thanks to the team, thanks to Robin.
Robin, first win this season for you guys. That might be a special moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think we really deserve it, the whole team. Gilles did a mega job in qualifying, and I just had to bring the car home. So yeah, amazing feeling to finally get some luck on our side, let's say.
Congrats, you guys.
Yeah, Robin Knudsen, as we've been explaining, has had a horrible start to the season, but the former Porsche Scandinavia champion then coming home victorious. Gilles Magnus, another real star of GT3, and honouring the late Mark van der Straten. Now, silver, a third win for Ignacio Montenegro and Mathis Liesmont, and Bryn has caught up with them.
Mathis just moving the trophy there, getting a closer look at it. It was a great performance. Must be a good feeling to come away after day one with such a nice trophy, a nice haul of points as well.
Yeah, I mean, we went into this weekend with the least experience. I would say this track for the both of us, we've driven the least on. So to be able to do this performance in quali and then in race, I think we can be very proud of what we did. Yeah, it's just another one on the list. I think this is third win of the season now in silver. It just extends our lead in the championship. I think this is for us the most important at the moment. Very happy with my own stint, with the start. Pit stop, we lost a little bit of time due to a malfunction with our gun, but our gap was already big enough for Nacho to manage it and to finish the race.
Winning's a pretty good habit, isn't it? It's a nice habit to have, and you seem to be, realising the habit so well. Conditions yesterday, we were looking at how in first practice it was lovely on Friday, then the rain came as well, so it's not been the easiest weekend from learning the track from that kind of perspective either.
No, for sure. Also in the night conditions, it's really difficult due that the FP2 was cancelled, so for us it was quite new everything, especially the first couple of laps. But we were able to manage it, so we are quite happy with these results. the standings is still, we are still P1 with good points in the back. So I'm really happy. I want to say thank you to Mattis. We're doing a really good job all together. Also with the Mauri in the endurance races. So I'm really happy also with the team. Thanks, Nico, Pierre, all the crew. So I'm really happy.
Halfway stage, go and celebrate. Well done.
Thank you.
Ignacio Montenegro there in his first year of GT3 racing. You wouldn't think it, because he and Mathis Lismont making a really good partnership and belying their relative lack of experience, and indeed the first season they've worked together. You know, the first time Montenegro shared a car, but they've made a very, very good double act, and they take win number 3 of the season. Just going back to that incident that triggered the full course yellow, we did actually lose Mikey Porter's McLaren. The damage eventually did sort of kick in, and that car was retirement. There are your 4 class-winning cars. Charles Dawson and Cian Jewis, the other category victors. And so the podium awaits, but for Danny Hunkadea and Jules Gounon, performances don't come much more dominant than that.
No, really don't, and it was easy in the end.
So race result, Jules Gounon and Danny Hunkadea are the winners, from Thomas Neubauer and Arthur Leclerc. Kobe Pauwels and Nicky Tim taking 3rd ahead of Lucas Auer and Mario Engel, then Dean McDonald and Marvin Kirchhofer, Max Hesse and Valentino Rossi in 6th. 7th, the championship leaders Charles Witz, Calvin van der Linde. 8th, the gold-winning Gilles Magnus and Robin Knudsen. 15th, Mathis Lismont and Ignacio Montenegro, but ahead of them, 11th, Cian Jewis and Charles Dawson, and they won bronze. And you can see a long way down the order that there were drivers that had troubles and had delays. Jim Pla and Michel Blanchemin dropped a long way back after they were involved in that incident. They were 38th, and we had 4 retirements. The Rutronic Lamborghini, Optimum's McLaren, one of the fleet of AF Corse, the Ferraris, and of course the Simon Riker, Christopher Hauser, Audi. Right, Ganella's caught up with Charles Dawson and Cian Jewis. They win in bronze.
The bronze winners, Charles and Cian, starting from pole position today. You made it to your first win this season. Congrats.
Yeah, look, it's after a strong qualifying, it put us in good stead for the race. Nice, clean start to the race, and obviously hand over to Charles to bring it home.
Charles, you had to finish that race. There was this full course yellow. How stressful was it?
Yeah, look, it was a clean start from Cian. He made a mega effort in qualifying, and yeah, I'm not sure what happened for the incident. I saw some cars in the gravel at the exit 12, so, and yeah, it felt like quite a long full course yellow. And then just kind of managing the cars behind me, I wasn't sure who they were. So yeah, it was tough out there. It was less grip than what we was expecting. So, but look, we brought it home and mega happy to win. And Cian, honestly, he did such a good job in qualifying. So,
congrats on that first win.
Thank you.
Last year's British GT champions, carrying on the success and also proving to be a very, very good combination of drivers. They are. I can't say evenly matched, because clearly you've got drivers of different grades, but they just work well as a combination.
Yeah, the whole driver coaching element is so important in that sort of pro-am relationship. Jewis is getting the best out of Dawson on and off track, it would seem. Yeah,
Cian, who's a single-seater champion out of GB3 and a Carrera Cup GB champion as well. A huge throng of people in front of the podium, and I suspect many of them are going to make their way for the pit walk and the track walk once this is all done, but it's great to have so many fans here as well.
Yeah, and so close to the cars as well, and that's where GT racing is an amazing spectacle and event for the fans. You just get so involved with the whole element of motorsport, and it doesn't have to be an experienced fan. If it's your first time, there's so much to do, like you've already said, David, on and off the track. It's an amazing family event these days.
Engineers thinking, don't touch my car, don't lean on that, don't prod that wing.
Unless it's underweight and someone's dropped a water bottle or half a pint of beer in there.
Perish the thought. So the podium is being made ready, and very shortly we'll get the drivers up there. Tomorrow, of course, they have a separate qualifying session for the second race, and that qualifying will be on air at 10:45, and then 3 o'clock we go racing, or we're on air for racing tomorrow. Right, Ganel, I think, is in podium mode now, ready to call forward the drivers. So the overall podium will be first, Nicky Team and Kobe Pauwels for 3rd place. Big cheer goes up for young Kobe, whose father Koen Pauwels was a very good rallycrosser. That's where Kobe started off in rallycross buggies, effectively. Nicky Team, who's been a Spa 24 winner, Super Cup champion, WEC class champion. He's the other half of that third place combination for second place. Then after Leclerc and Thomas Neubauer, winners at Brands, second here. Big cheer from the Ferrari fans in the crowd. They step up to congratulate the third place drivers. So, Aston Martin third, Ferrari second, but it's Mercedes AMG that wins the first race of the weekend for 2Cs Motorsport for Verstappen Racing. The team manager, or the team represented on the podium, and it is going to be, for the race win, Jules Gounon and Danny Juncadella. And as we've been saying, they have just dominated the day.
Yeah, from that qualifying lap of Jules Gounon, nearly 4 tenths clear to a stint that extended his gap to second place over 7 seconds. And then Juncadella being able to get that back after that risky full course yellow period, potentially for the 3 car.
Je vais demander à Monsieur Serge Saulnier, président du circuit de Nevers.
So the presentations about to be made by the president of the Magny-Cours circuits, Serge Saulnier, who you might recall under a different guise as the man behind the Promotechme Formula 3 team, which had a UK operation that Chris Weller ran with him. So Saulnier, vastly experienced team owner, and now running the circuit. I seem to remember Promotechme based here as a team. There are the trophies for second place crew. And then for Verstappen Racing, the winner's trophy. And then the drivers' trophies as well. An important result that for 2Cs as well. It's all very well winning domestic championships, but to come along and take on the likes of Get Speed and particularly Winward and beat them, that shows you've arrived.
Yes, a massive scalp. We're in that inter-team battle. Yeah. We look at the manufacturers as one big happy family, but the one you want to beat is the other Mercedes team, and that's what 2Cs are doing more and more consistently now.
Yeah, we talk about that battle in endurance, don't we? The BMWs of Rover versus WRT. So it's the same in terms of Mercedes AMG. There, the drivers now all get together on the podium for that group photograph. And the Verstappen Racing team that operates under the Dutch licence. The drivers celebrate. Danny Juncadella last with the cork, but entered into the spirit of this. Race winners, Jules Gounon and Danny Juncadella. But yet again, Mauro Engel and Lucas Sauer, okay, not on the podium, but fourth. Another ka-ching as far as points are concerned, keeping them in the mix.
Yeah, they've got the most metronomic style, haven't they, of just collecting points. Even when it's not 100% their way, they're getting a good haul.
Yeah, you get the feeling that as children they may have been stamp collectors or something. You know, they know how to collect things, whether it's points or trophies or championships. But it seems to work really well. So already the pit lane getting busy with people, and this is how we stand in the championship going into tomorrow's action. Calvin van der Linde and Charles Weerts are ahead. But the gap has come right down, hasn't it? Just 7 points now over Danny Juncadella. And a further 2.5 back, Mauro Engel and Lucas Sauer. Arthur Leclerc and Thomas Neubauer are still there or thereabouts. 4th ahead of Ricardo Feller, then Jules Gounon, Bastien Bus, again all tied on points. Remember that Jules Gounon has not done the Brands Hatch sprint weekend. That's why he's on a different tally from Danny Juncadella. So, tough day for Team WRT in Pro. Got better in silver. But we'll get to our next podium. What are the fans after? They're after hats. So Jules Gounon, who's got plenty of winners' hats, can afford to throw another one to the crowd.
It went very high, but not very far, didn't it? Just landed, luckily for him, just off stage. I was going to land back on his head at one point.
Yeah, I don't think he plays golf quite like that. And Danny Juncadella being a rock star in all of this. All that for a hat.
sweaty one.
Yeah, quite. It smells of champagne. Yeah. Right. Let us get to the next podium, because already heading to the steps Matthias Zagazeta and Tommaso Mosca for third in gold. For second in gold, it will be Alex Arca and Dylan Pereira. And then the Gold Cup winners, Robin Knudsen and Gilles Magnus. There's very happy Alex Arca. Dylan Pereira, second time he's been on the podium today, once at the Nürburgring for a class win and third overall, and now he comes here and takes second in class. Not bad work. The Luxembourg driver. I think he had to drive through Luxembourg, didn't need to get to the Nürburgring and back.
Yeah, it's going to be a long old drive of over 6 hours, so he spent plenty of time in the car today.
And there are, for Brooks and VDS, Robin Knudsen and Gilles Magnus making their way onto the podium with the Brooks and VDS flag as well, to remember the late Mark van der Straeten. And the Belgian national anthem will be the next Benelux one that we hear here at Magny-Cours. So again, Serge Saunier will step forward with the trophies for our winning drivers and indeed winning team. And the Ferrari crew, Matthias Zagazeta and Tommaso Mosca, who of course was part of that very impressive overall effort that Tejf Corsa had in the CrowdStrike 24 Hours at Spa. But he's back in a class car today and scoring good points within that championship here this evening. And yet again, Akin Arca's team proving that there is life in the Audi R8. It might be one of the older cars, but in the right hands, it can still deliver.
Yeah, it's super quick, wasn't it? And I just had that slight fear that Arca may have a full Coursiero procedure looming, but you would say if he's on the podium, race control are happy with his actions.
I'm not sure that it's being investigated unless another team maybe steps forward and says, oi, you need to have a look at this. But if anything does change in the result, we'll update tomorrow when we get to our second race of the weekend. But delight for the Brooks and VDS team, and that's also the best place of the Porsches, ahead of all the Pro Cup cars in the end. Robin Knudsen and Gilles Magnus taking that class win. Good effort. So the
don't forget, you guys, to watch on the right side as well.
Drivers being huddled together for photographs. And as I say, tomorrow standalone qualifying and a second grid to be formed, not based on the race result, completely separate from the qualifying session tomorrow, and then they will go into battle once more. Interesting race as well, and you see how much was down to different paces of drivers and how much can be won or lost in the pit stops. The pit stops important for myriad reasons, of course, these days.
Yeah, we had a wide spread. The fastest pit stop of everyone was actually the number 7 Comtu Aston at a 38.9. That's pit lane and the stop, so that would have meant their stop was sub 20 seconds. But WRT uncharacteristically slow in the 44s.
Yeah, you heard, I think, Matthias Lisman saying there was a problem with his WRT car with the wheel gun. Very unlike WRT, that to have bad pit stops. As far as gold is concerned in the championship, Tommaso Mosca and Matthias Zagazeta ahead of Dylan Pereira and Alex Arca, Louis Pret and Tom Fleming. Third, they didn't have quite the race they wanted, did they? Only fourth in class today, so a little bit disappointing ahead of Romain Andriolo and Simon Gachet in that Gold Cup championship battle now. So still a silver and a bronze podium to come. Silver being prepared rapidly as the officials get the trophies there. All hands to the pump to make sure that things happen as quickly as possible. And it is going to be for third place, Jamie Day and his co-driver, Mathieu Villagomez. The Aston Martin drivers, they make their way now up onto the podium. Jamie Day, who just quietly gets on with the job, doesn't he, and delivers, he's a regular these days on the podium.
Yeah, fastest out of anyone in FP2 in those wet conditions earlier in the weekend as well.
There for second place. Ariel Levy makes his way onto the podium along with Andrea Frasinetti, who, remember, was on the front row at Misano, courtesy of his qualifying time, but then got caught up in that melee at the start. And then WRT's rep makes his way up the steps onto the podium. And then the drivers, Ignacio Montenegro and Mathis Lismont, will be next. They will make their way onto the podium. Mathis Lismont is happy. Ignacio Montenegro's done it again. The third victory out of 5 races. Not bad going at all. So WRT, the Belgian team, taking honours in silver. So a good effort for Benelux teams, Verstappen Racing, and now 2 wins for WRT. A brief national anthem this time. Time is marching on, but excellent job done. This time, Matteo Braga from Pirelli will step forward with the trophies. And the Silver Cup, hugely important. It's the next generation, isn't it, of GT stars?
Yeah, exactly. It's the young aspiring pro, so at the moment they're in the hard part of motorsport, having to find sponsors, having to find budget to get on the grid, trying to get the holy grail of that next level, the full professional driver that gets paid to be on the same part of tarmac as them, but is doing it at a professional level.
Well done to WRT. So far, wins for Mercedes-AMG, for Porsche, and now for BMW. And they're the winners' trophies to Ignacio Montenegro and Mathis Lismont, looking increasingly strong as far as the championship is concerned.
On va évidemment immortaliser le moment avec ce podium de la Silver Cup avant dernier podium de cette soirée.
So one more podium to come. That is for the bronzes. That will be next.
Les plus grands, les plus petits, la fête qui va continuer dans quelques instants.
So there, the drivers' photos done. Get ready with the champagne. And successes are celebrated here at Magny-Cours. One or two teams, of course, with quite a bit of work to do, with damaged cars to repair, and relatively speaking, not that much time to sort them out overnight.
No, it's a quick turnaround, and cars probably won't be out of Parc Fermé until gone 11 o'clock local time. So, again, it's where the best teams have the best staff and they get the best cars the next day.
And not too much, I don't think, for the stewards to look at. Anything that was a bit contentious seemed to be able to be dealt with during the course of the race. This is how we stand in the championship in silver. Mathis Lismont and Ignacio Montenegro now 22.5 points up the road over Jamie Day and Matteo Gomez. Aurelien Panis and Anthony Bartone had a rather subdued night here. They were 4th in class. Mikey Porter and Guillaume Oliveira retiring. Jeff Mackiels and Gilles Stadsbad are also retiring, so they were out of luck. And of course, a bit further down, Arthur Dorisson and Oliver Söderström, they did get into the race, but hemorrhaging places after the silver pole that had been garnered by Oliver Söderström earlier on in qualifying. So, silver championship is an intriguing one, and as far as bronze is concerned, less points scored so far because they were not racing at Brands Hatch. Their podium awaits, and it's going to be Eddie Cheever and Peter Dempsey for 3rd place for Ziggo Sport Tempesta, the American-Italian/Irish combination, as Peter Dempsey gets his bottle of fizz as he heads to the podium. Steady on, Peter. Protocols and all that, you know. There for 2nd place, Marvin Dienst and Renat Salikov. And he's an increasingly good bronze, Renat Salikov, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, he doesn't age either. I've known him over 15 years. He looks identical.
It's like Peter Pan. Marvin Dienst, who was German F4 champion going back a good few years. And there, for 2Cs, they're represented on the podium. And their drivers, Charles Dawson and Kian Jewis, arrive to celebrate. The Anglo-Bahraini team that runs that car, taking a 2nd class win. 1 badged as Verstappen Racing, but this, for 2Cs, is the victorious team in bronze. Anglo-Bahraini team. It's the Bahraini half that's the anthem. And then the trophies are ready for our drivers. Again, Matthew Braga, I think, sets forward with the trophies to Eddie Cheever there, nearest to us. Peter Dempsey getting his trophy. So third in bronze. Eddie Cheever, of course, has been a regular with the Ziggo Sport Tempesta, or prior to that, Sky Tempesta squad. Renat Salikov, all smiles with Marvin Dienst. You get the feeling that both of them enjoy racing together.
Yeah, and then when they go in endurance and bring Piana in as well, they have a really good trio or duo, whatever series they're running.
Absolutely right. And with Winwood, they get a good car there. Charles Dawson and Cian Jewis receive their trophies. And Charles Dawson proved last year in British just how good, with limited racing experience, he is. And Cian Jewis, again, illustrating why he should not be overlooked as a driver.
No, second fastest out of a 44-car field and against the biggest and best names in GT racing anywhere in the world.
Yeah, fair effort that from Cian Jewis, well done. So photos taken, champagne ready to be sprayed here at the end of our last podium at Magny-Cours. So well done to our winning drivers across the four classes, and let's see what tomorrow brings. It's going to be a whole different feel, isn't it, to tomorrow's race in daylight?
Yeah, track's getting rubbered up more and more. No rain forecast over the next 24 hours, and another hat throw from a 2Cs driver there, Charles Dawson, into the crowd, and the track walk actually starting now. So again, something else to do as a spectator, able to go on the track. Marshall's even repainting parts of the curbs already
for tomorrow. So in the bronze championship, Renat Salikov and Marvin Dienst are ahead. Not by that much, though, from Cian Jewis and Charles Dawson. 6.5 the margin. Gabriel Rindon and Fabian Schiller next, with Peter Dempsey and Eddie Cheever ahead of Dustin Blattner and Dennis Marshall. So tomorrow, qualifying to look forward to, and a second race as well. And that's tomorrow's action. Race one of the weekend in GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS. Sprint Cup began with Jules Gounon leading away from pole position as the cars forged their way through turn 1 and 2, and a really bold effort by Thomas Neubauer's Ferrari put him around the outside. There's a little bit of drama further back involving Luca Engel and one or two others that got caught up at the Adelaide hairpin, but they largely survived. Gounon, though, up front started to build the lead as Max Hesse pulled a good move round the outside of Neubauer, but by the end of the lap, Neubauer was able to get him back again, and the BMW not only dropped back behind the Ferrari, but also Kobe Pauwels in the Aston Martin. This was how it all unfolded. Neubauer back up the inside, late on the brakes, and as the road opened up, Pauwels nipped by as well in the Aston Martin. Arthur Leclerc, one of the drivers, to get ready for the driver change as the pit window opened. Just 5 minutes for the two groups, so the pros and golds pitting first. And it wasn't long in that second stint that the light disappeared and the floodlights kicked in. So for the drivers, reference points were all different. The cars accelerated through, but there was drama as Michel Blanchemin got crossed up, was hit by Mikey Porter and also by Jeff Mackhiels, and he was hit in turn by Christopher Hasse. And with debris on the racetrack, that triggered a full course yellow. And then after it, Jordan Pepper got turned around as well in his BMW. To the checkered flag, though, it was a race win for Daniel Juncadella and for Jules Gounon. For the Verstappen Racing 2Cs combination, it was victory for the Mercedes crew, and the action continues here tomorrow.